The type of attention you get and who you get it from determines where we end up in life.
We are we got.
Tejas has already been accepted to the University of Texas in Austin, electrical
In a
engineering.
community where the statistics aren't the best, the default isn't the best either.
The gentleman who's going to be on the field representing South San,
Defensive captain of the varsity football team.
Mr. Jesus Rendon.
His life to giving back to this community.
St. Joseph's Catholic Church Choir.
So I decided to start a nonprofit called Building a Purpose.
And if we can raise that default to be something of higher standards,
Help students find their purpose in life.
I think we can do something
We all we need.
special by
Welcome
default.
to the Jesus Rendon podcast, where we talk about life, purpose, and God. Our next guest here is Mr. Fernando Esteban Flores, who was my 7th grade writing teacher at Dwight Middle School. He's a University of Texas graduate. He was an educator at South San ISD for 25 years and has over 37 years of experience in education, and published author, was the first author I ever met, and is also going to talk about his new book that came out January 5th, Songs of America. Mr. Flores, thank you so much for joining us.
Sorry,
Crisscross.
That's
So how's life been? What's new? I know the book's just coming out.
well. Thank you first of all for the invitation to be on your podcast. I've seen some of them already, and they're pretty nice. They understand, and I get to hear some interesting people on your podcast. So.
Yeah, well, you're one of them, and you've got
Well, thank you for that.
a lot of experience and history in the community in South San and the West Side, and in the culture of writing poetry for the last. I don't want to throw your age out there, but probably
No,
for the last.
you don't want to do that.
Probably for the last 40 plus years, for sure.
Oh yeah, I started back in 1976, actually 75. When I graduated from UT, I was pretty much hired pretty fast. So I had 2 jobs. Like I was telling you, one at USAA, and then Edgewood hired me as a reading and writing teacher. So yeah, I spent 25 years at Edgewood, and then the rest of my career at South San. So I finished up with 37 years, and it's been a trip and a good journey at sometimes, and sometimes very difficult. But I caught on fast, and I wanted to make sure the kids understood that I cared about what they did, and I wasn't just there to be Mr. Nice Guy. I was there to teach and do my job.
Right.
And so that's what I've always done. I've always been a writer all my life, and as a matter of fact, I figured that's what I would do when I was in middle school and high school. I thought maybe I'd grow up and get a job somewhere doing writing. My senior counselor told me I had good scores to be a journalist or a reporter or even a teacher. And I said, no way I could be a teacher, right? I didn't see myself in that role. And lo and behold, what do I end up doing? Doing journalism and writing and teaching. So, yeah, I've been in the field for a while.
Oh yeah. I remember your style of teaching too. You were very the first word that always comes to mind when I think about it, you're very Chicano, like that type of teacher who was cool doing his own thing, and then stand and deliver. I was like, yeah, you kind of give me those vibes, and but you always made it cool to write, and especially in that 7th grade middle school formational years, nothing's cool, or nothing adults do is cool.
Right, exactly.
But you didn't just blow us off. It's like, no, you listened, and you allowed us to have a voice. So I think those things really motivated and inspired me to write, and continue to do that for years after. But tell me a little bit about what you've been up to these days when you retired, and I know you've got a lot of projects, and I know I pull you in from time to time to keep you busy too.
Oh yeah, I'm glad any time that I can serve the community is still part of my nature. So what I've been up to is just mainly ever since I retired in 2012, developing more of my writing skills and making more connections in the community. I know I've done that very very competitively in a way, not to compete with anybody, but it's almost that way sometimes. But I don't like competition. I like cooperation and collaboration. That's what I'm about. And nice. I think that comes from the classroom. I always used to put the demand on the kids. You show me what you can do after I taught you, so I can understand that you know what what I taught.
Receptive.
Right. And one anecdotal story, when I was at Memorial High School, I remember I was teaching seniors my second year.
Your second year teaching?
Yeah. So I was already, wow, what an indoctrination, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the kids were fabulous. I guess I could relate to them because I was almost their age.
Yeah.
And I remember taking one group of guys who were kind of rowdy, and I had them act out a scene from Hamlet from Shakespeare. Boy, these guys took to it. They made their own costumes. They brought their own props.
Wow.
And I took them to the theater, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they performed it for the rest of the class. And I mean, everybody, you know, they were like awesome that these guys actually did some Shakespeare, you know.
Yeah.
And so that was motivational for me when I saw what the potential was for kids to learn. And
What year was this?
That had to have been in 78, 79.
78, 79.
Yeah, before I came to Dwight.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw the potential there. You know, it's just up to the teacher to challenge the kids and your expectations. So I've always had higher expectations of myself, and I try to translate that over to my students. So I figured, you know, what good is a teacher if a teacher doesn't write and you're teaching English and writing, and you don't write? You know, how the kid's going to give any credit to you? So
Right.
yeah, I always worked on manuscripts, and I would bring my writing to school. And I remember one year, one teacher at Dwight challenged me to a competition at KZEP. I don't know if you remember KZEP, the old rock and roll station.
Yeah, I remember.
And they were having a Super Bowl thing, and they wanted the best poem was going to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they announced it over the radio. I didn't know. My friend told me, hey, you want to enter this competition? I said, what it's about? He goes, they want the best poem in San Antonio. So I said, well, yeah, you know, I'll do it just to do it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And little did I know, and all of a sudden, weeks later, I think that year San Francisco was playing, no, not San Francisco, it was the Chargers against, I forgot who. And so I wrote the poem and I sent it in, and they gave you guidelines, how many lines and whatever. It had to be 109, wait a minute, it was KZEP 109 point something or 105 something. Yeah. So you only had to have so many lines on the poem, words in the poem to match the radio station's call number. So I did that. Yeah, it was it was hard.
Yeah.
And so I sent it in, and I forgot about it. Then one day when I'm on the way to school, my wife calls me up. Hey, there's this guy that wants to talk to you. I said, who is it? He goes, I don't know. He's from some radio station. I said, oh, my God. And my wife told him, well, he's already gone to work, right? And so she gave him the number of the school.
The school.
And so they called me over there. And
they called the school?
Yeah.
Who was principal at the time?
I think it was Mr. Aldana at that time. And so they called me in, and I went in. I said, what's going on, sir? He goes, well, you're getting a call from a radio station. I said, what, radio station? I said, oh. Then I snapped. So I talked to the DJ. He goes, congratulations. You've been chosen the winner of the competition. He goes, we'll be sending you a 52-inch Mitsubishi screen TV so you can enjoy the Super Bowl.
That's awesome.
And so many cases of Miller beer. I didn't drink beer that much, but I said, well, what am I going to do with all these all these cases of beer? Anyway, so they brought it and they delivered it. There was a huge truck from Bjorn's. I don't know if you heard of Bjorn's. It's still around. And they delivered the TV. All the kids from the neighborhood came out and said, well, Mr. Flores rocks.
Yeah, Mr. Flores rocks, all right.
So I won the competition. And, of course, my friend was all mad.
Did you bring the poem with you?
I think it's in my teaching. Yeah,
okay.
It's in my teaching manuscript.
We have plenty of time to share some of the some of the fruits of your labor over the years. With
well, let me show you, since you asked me what I had been up to. Mm-hmm. This was my first book called Ragged Borders. And it won first runner-up in the Southwestern Poetry Competition out of Eagle Pass.
Wow!
And I got beat by a professor from Trinity University, so I said, "Hey, that's high company for me." And I got some blurbs in the back from.
What year was that?
This was 1996. So I was already at
So that
Dwight.
was probably, how many books had you written by the time I got to Dwight? Because it had probably been like 2000.
It was just this one.
I think it was just that one.
Right. And so I shared that with the kids. Ode to Tortillas is in here. And,
yeah.
And some, where I grew up. So that was, of course, the book is out of print because it's sold out. So there's no more copies except the ones I kept for myself. Yeah. And so that was the first book. And then the second book was Red Accordion Blues. As you can see, it got a little more meatier.
Oh, yeah.
And this one was in...
I remember when that one came out.
2006. So you can see how many, 10 years after?
Yeah.
The first one. It seems like it's been coming to me 10 years, in increments of 10 years. So the cover was done by my friend, artist from Mexico. Well, he lives here in Monterrey. He's from, I forgot what the name of the city in Mexico is, but he did his name is Luis Lopez. He did the cover.
That's awesome.
and he allowed me to use it. And well, he did the painting specifically for
the book.
For the book, yeah. And then he allowed me to.
Where'd you get the picture of for the?
Oh, this was just from the printer, the publisher.
The publisher chose it.
And they had he goes, what cup? And I really didn't know too much about the whole process.
Yeah, if you learn so much after you get better.
Now
and better.
I have, yeah. And so he said, well, let me look up some images that seem to go with your book. So I think this is Chaco Canyon out there in New Mexico. And so I said, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and those
speaks to me.
In those days too, the pictures weren't something you could just Google and find. Right? These were pictures that were in photo albums,
exactly,
or things that from actual photographers.
And and some of them were pricey, so he had to find something that was in the public domain. Use. So that was my second book, and then my third book, I walked into the city of cultural affairs. I had an idea. A friend of mine said, "Well, why don't you go talk to the staff at that place?" It was in downtown on Houston Street, and the office was there. So I walked in just off the street, and I asked to speak to the guy, and he said, "Yeah, come on in." And I told him about my idea. I said, "I want to do a book of poetry, but I want them to be sonnets, but to be in my style. A sonnet is a 14-line poem, and it's got rhyme, kind of like Shakespeare. Shall I compare thee to a love?"
What's it called? What's a sonnet?
A sonnet is a 14-line poem that has a certain rhyme scheme, like A, B, C, D, C, D.
Got it.
The ending lines rhyme. But I didn't want to just use that. I wanted to explore my own model. So I wrote 111 sonnets. This is 10 years in the making, actually.
And that's a big book.
It is a big book. And the guy liked the idea so much that he cut me a check.
Really?
And he sent it to my house. About a week later, I had a check from the
publisher.
From the city.
Oh, from the city.
Yeah, so I gave the city a shout out in the introduction.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Office of Cultural Affairs, because they financed it. And I hired my own. Well, I did my own research on the cover art and the art in here. It's separated. It's got pictures from different paintings from Luis, and he allowed me to take pictures and to use them as kind of like triggers for each poem. Although they don't have to match up, but there's some good icons in here that he allowed me to use as dividers, right? And so I did that. And there's 3 stories running in here. If you have to be sharp to find out what they are. Yeah. And so there's very spiritual poems, literary poems, personal poems, some love poems, and but they all follow my style. I wanted to make it contemporary, not just I didn't want to copy Shakespeare.
Right.
I mean, it's already been done, so what's the point? And so that's what I did. And I brought this copy to give to you for inviting
that's awesome.
me.
Yeah, I haven't
seen
had a
this
chance
one
to read this one. Yeah,
I'll sign it for you later if you want.
Add it to my collection.
There you go. And that was in 2011, I think I told you, or forgot what it says in there. I lose track of my own. So that's still up in some bookstores. You can find that at the Twig, at Cheever's Books.
There's a 2010.
Yeah, 2000. There you go. And and then this is the latest book called Song for America.
You had one after this one though, right?
This one.
The wasn't it Blues? I bought it.
Dreaming in Noir.
Dreaming in Noir.
Yeah, that has a lot of musical and a lot of literary connections. Yeah, that one I'm working on. I sent that one out recently to other publishing companies, but I haven't heard from them yet. So, and of course my teaching manuscript, which I brought, and that one hasn't been published. That's the one that you anyway graciously know about. I think I sent it to you. So.
Yeah, I've read through. Those are good stories in that one too.
And then this one is the latest book. Gnashing Teeth Press liked it, and so they published it. The cover is from a mural on the west side. It's on Buena Vista in Colorado. So if you're ever in that neighborhood, you can see the entire mural. Of course, we couldn't put the whole mural on here.
Right.
But we took what I felt was good, and the publisher loved the cover and the color. So she said, "Yeah, let's go for it." So the artist that did the cover, her name is Ruth Buenteo. She's still here in town and she's still doing art.
Really?
And when I approached, because I had to approach her for her permission,
her.
even though it's on the public domain.
How did you go about approaching her?
Because back in '92, I think, I was part of San Antonio Cultural Arts organization, and it was run by a young man named Manny Castillo, who was also a punk rocker. But he was the executive director, which I liked. He was cool.
That's awesome.
And he would always invite me to do readings of my poetry on the corners, come on for a community unveiling, and so I did several of those. One year he called me up and says, I want to put 2 of your poems on a wall out in the community. And I said, wow, really? He goes, yeah, man. He goes, I got the artists ready for you. They're going to do the lettering, and then they're going to paint. They're going to do a mural painting. And it was about the economy. It was about how rich people were getting richer and the poor weren't getting anything. It was a social justice mural. So I gave him the 2 poems, and the guys worked out there in the heat of August, and the artists were out there. It's a good thing I documented all the pictures. They were up on the wall of the Delta Produce Company, right on the corner of Laredo and Brazos, I think. So
that whole area is blown up a lot. It's just cleaned up. I mean, quite a bit.
Back in those days, it was the kids that did it were they came from an alternative school in San Antonio. But they were kids that had promise and they could draw and they love art.
That was their outlet, their means,
Exactly. And so they put it up. It was up there for years. Thank God I took pictures of it the day that we did the unveiling, as I did of this. So when I took pictures of this mural, it was still, the pictures are still vibrant, because I saved them, and oh my God, they're still rich. And so I sent them to the publisher.
What year was that when you took the picture?
This was after this. No, it wasn't. It was before this.
Before that one.
Yeah, 90 something.
Okay.
And so I still have the pictures, and I had to reach out to Ruth to make sure she gave me her permission to use some of the images. And so we did that, and she said, yes, I would love to help you, Fernando. And she had also that day given me a little plaque that she made for me out of wood, and it's got this image. It's called The Poet on the back.
Oh, awesome.
And she dedicated it to me. It's a little block of painting, but to me it was priceless, yeah. So that was that book, and that's the latest book. And I'm going to be having some functions on that coming up.
Yeah, I've got this one on order, and I pre-ordered mine.
Okay, great. So you should be hearing something.
Should be coming in soon.
Yeah.
And I shared it with some of our other classmates. Great. Yeah.
It's a book about our country and the
Songs for America. What a great title. I'm sure it's.
I took my model, not really strictly, but from Walt Whitman, one of the most famous American poets, and he's been anthologized all over the world, and he's he inspired many poets from Latin America because of his stance on people and wanting to share community and build like what you're doing. So you're a Whitman-esque person to me because you're reaching out to people. That's what Walt Whitman did. But Walt Whitman only went so far because of the times that he lived in, right? The Civil War and all that. And there's a little story about one day Walt Whitman was walking past the White House before it was all fancied up and everything. And President Lincoln looked out the window and saw him. He goes, "Is that the man that's been writing the poems?"
Really?
And they told him, "Yeah, that's him." He wasn't too impressed, I guess. Anyway, so that was funny. President at least acknowledged that he was alive.
Yeah.
And that he was making an impact through his literature. So,
right.
I mean, that's what I seek to do, model myself after people who, it wasn't just about me and my ego and satisfy my place, but it was to branch out and reach out to people and, help them. Like Carlos Santana says, make somebody happy, make somebody strong.
Right.
And, I think that's what your connection is too. So.
Absolutely. I think, I'm copying off of your playbook. I think you've inspired many students to write. It's crazy too because, after I left 7th grade, kids go to high school and 8th grade and then high school, and you don't always get to see your middle school teachers, or even elementary, until way later. And I think I'd ran into you at Collins Garden Library. Yeah. And I think you had just finished reading poetry there. And I was like, man, that's so cool. I can't believe you're still at it and true to your brand, in the community where there's books, right? Yeah. Where you're speaking in that and sharing the message in your means in the neighborhood, in the libraries, in the neighborhoods that we live in. So I think, yeah, I mean, I'm not doing anything that hasn't already been done, and I think you've been doing it
I haven't
for a
either,
long
but
time.
we're following the models, the people that inspired us,
Right.
along the way. So, yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about the book. So what
The new
made
book
you
or
the
which
new
one?
book?
Yeah,
Songs for America.
Yeah, this I should have brought my journal, because the very first poem in this book I wrote back in 2003, if you can imagine that. I was still doing community work with Manny and going to mural readings. I would take my youngest daughter with me, and I would make
Daisy?
I would make her recite poems, and people would clap for her, and I think that
awesome.
helped her develop her own creative skills.
Her voice.
Yeah, her voice, and she'll never forget that, because we were bonded together on that. So,
Amen.
She would go with Daddy everywhere to galleries and art functions and poetry readings, and my wife too. But after a while, my wife said, "Oh, I'm kind of burned out already. I've met all your friends."
She's probably heard those poems more than anybody has.
She's my first editor. I always say, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And she goes, "Oh, it's not bad." I say, "Hey, wait a minute. What do you mean?" You always expect your wife to be fawning over you.
Right. Well, she
anyway,
sharpens you.
Yeah, she sure. Iron sharpens iron, like the Bible says.
Amen.
So that's what I do. And so this book, I wrote a poem. It wasn't as long as the one in the book, but it started off with I am no one of renown, just one who rose from the violent planet, and planted in this violent moment, in history. And, so I picked up the writing from that angle, and they published it in the Current. When they had the mural unveiling, they took a picture of the mural. So I have the original newspaper.
Wow.
I don't know if you know what the Current is. I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I know the Current.
I think it's still around. So
It's
anyway,
Current.
they published a picture of the poem and the people that were there watching, looking at the mural, and then they wanted a sample of what I had read. So I gave them the poem, and they published the poem, and so that was the first song for America that I had written. And after that,
2003.
things just seemed to come up. Like something was inspiring and driving me to continue on that journey. It took me 20 somewhat years to finish this book. And, I would get ideas from what was going on in our country, how people were being treated, how minorities were being, war seemed to be waged against minorities and our people too, mainly our people and black people. So I got inspired by that. And so I just started writing and came up with 80 somewhat poems in this book. And, the publisher published every one of them.
Wow.
She said that book needs to be out there in the market. So she made other comments.
She's a publisher out of Dallas, right?
I think she's in Arkansas.
Arkansas, okay.
And so she said we need to get this out there. Gnashing Teeth Publishing. And so that's how I started it. And some of the poems are long because they're based on my experiences in those. Like I write a lot about things going on, like on Nogales Street or on South Cross or on Zamora Street. And, I bring that into the poem so people can relate. People who live in this area would know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
But either way, I describe enough that anybody in the country picking up this book can say, hey, we have streets like that in our town or people like that.
That's true.
And I write a lot about, I mention a lot about the struggles of our people and just people in general. So, it's not just focused on one group. It's on what I've seen and what I've lived through in our country and my experience as a writer and as a witness. It's really poetry. This book is poetry of witness. And so, after all, what are we if not citizens and witnesses of what goes on in our lives? And much of that is still going on. What was happening in 2003 is still happening in 2026, except it seemed to have increased.
Right.
The language people use nowadays, and the reactions to what's going on in this country. I thought they were important enough to document. You can only get so much after a while, but without starting to repeat yourself.
Right.
So you got to walk a fine line as far as poetry is concerned. But you got to write about what you're passionate about, and that's what I've tried to do throughout my career as a writer and as a teacher. I would bring in samples of writing to share with the kids. That's probably what you connected with. And I wasn't afraid to bring in. I brought in a preacher one time who was a drug addict, and he spoke to the kids. And the kids, he had some kids crying because they knew
Connected,
about that.
yeah, they understood.
They had family members that
struggle.
had gone through that. But he was such a cool guy that they gave him a standing ovation. He was done, and this was at Dwight. And then of course I brought in actors, I brought in painters, singers to sing to the kids, because I mean I felt my kids from one of my classes was ESL, or some of my classes, English as a second language, and I had students from Mexico. And so I said, well, these kids need to hear the language from different, not just from me. I don't know everything about everything. So I would bring in an artist, and the kids would see him do this or do that. And I brought in dancers, and they performed a scene from Romeo and Juliet in dance. And then I brought in a rock and roll singer, and anybody who I could get hands on. And then I became a partner with the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center. Another poet, Ray Gonzalez, who's now a professor in Minnesota, University of Minnesota. And he said, "Hey, Fernando, you wanna collaborate?" I said, "I can send you some poets." I said, "Yeah." Send them to me, man. And so he started sending me. Every year they would have a festival, right? And sometimes they would bring famous writers to teach at Our Lady of the Lake. And you could sign up for a class. And oh man, I signed up for as many classes as I could. And I met a lot of interesting poets from all over the country. And from one guy was from a publisher from China.
Really?
And he came to Dwight. And I still have his card. Wanji Jing. And he was from, I forgot what province, Guizhou province in China. And so he came and talked to my kids. The very first thing the kids asked him was, did he know Bruce Lee? I said, well, these kids connect with everything.
Well, what year was it? When did
That
Bruce
was
Lee
in-
die? Bruce Lee died in
Gee, I don't remember, but they were big on that.
yeah. I mean, hit the legend of Bruce Lee
Yeah,
lives
oh, yeah.
on. Yeah. I mean, when was the Return of the Dragon? Not
Yeah.
Return of the Dragon.
90s, maybe.
Yeah.
It had to have been in the 90s because that's when I was collaborating with the
Yeah.
Guadalupe Theater, or the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center. And this was a forerunner of the Texas the San Antonio Book Festival. Before the book
Before
festival,
the book festival happened.
it's still in.
Oh,
Now it's
yeah.
a book festival, but before that, it was the International Cultural Arts. What do you call it? Festival. And so they came, and the Ray Gonzalez would get people from all over the country. Sandra Cisneros, all kinds of writers, poets, novelists. And so, that for me helped me to inspire my kids, because I would take that back to the classroom and share that with them. And I got to meet Jimmy Baca one year, who was a famous poet out of New Mexico and California. And he was in prison. He was illiterate when he was in prison.
Really?
He taught himself to read, and by using the dictionary, he looked up every word in the dictionary while he was incarcerated. And he started putting out those poems. They were powerful. And when I got his books, I said, "Oh man, I wish I could hear this guy." And all of a sudden, he shows up at Incarnate Word University. So I had to ask my principal, Mr. Aldana, if I could go, because it was going to be around
midday
8th period, which was about 2 to 3, and I needed to be down there to hear him. And so he goes, "Yeah, sure, go ahead. I'll get a sub for you for the last class of the day." So I took down there. I got to meet Jimmy, and he autographed some books. And he's still around. Now he's doing some big old events out in New Mexico and Albuquerque. He has writers' workshops and people from all over.
Is that where he's from?
He was from Albuquerque, yeah. And he had a hard life, man. But I mean, stuff you could relate to. The kids, powerful poetry. I mean, no bars hold. And so that inspired me, and I kept, I just kept going with the writing. I said, I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna use. That's my love. I realized that I hadn't brought my love into the classroom, my passion for writing. And so I after that, I just, I said, chuck it. One thing I will tell you, I used to walk around Dwight and during my conference period and listen to all the teachers. Okay. I got a wind of
all the chisme.
Yeah. Well, no, I wasn't. I was out to improve myself. I told myself,
go around and learn their styles.
I wanted to know who the best teacher in this campus was.
And who was it?
Well, in those days, when I did that that was my own challenge. It was Mr. Jones, and he taught social studies. I don't know if remember
Mr.
him.
Jones.
Yeah. And he was already there when I got there, and he was couple of more years after that.
He was already he was already there in 1980.
Yeah, in 1980 when I showed up, and so I said, "Oh, this guy, he's got something, for a social."
What was it?
teacher.
What was it about him?
It was just the way he was relating to the kids. Everybody was listening. There was nobody just doing busy work. They were also connecting, and I said, "That's what teaching should be."
Mm-hmm.
And while
that's how to engage.
I won't mention names, but there were other teachers who were yelling at the kids, swearing at the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Kids were throwing papers, and oh no, that's not what I want.
Not that one.
No, and one thing I did, I stayed away from the teachers' lounge for the rest of the year. I didn't want to hear who I was going to get next year. Oh, you're going to get him, and he's the worst. I didn't want that. No, let me find out for myself. Yeah, I mean, so I dealt with all kinds of personalities on both sides of the classroom, the kids and the staff. And I asked myself one time, because Jones was the teacher of the year. At the end of the year, it was Jones. I said, I was right.
Yeah.
And then I told myself, why can't that be me? Why not me? And not to belittle anybody, but I didn't feel like we were being represented as far as teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kept working at it. It wasn't a thing of competition, just trying to make myself better,
right?
A better teacher. And I took that seriously. I still do.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that's how. And after that, in '92, I was chosen Teacher of the Year.
Teacher of the Year, '92.
That was my first experience there. And then later on, I got Teacher of the Year again. And
what year?
At Dwight.
And what year?
I think it was '96 when this book came out. One of these books.
Mm-hmm.
I got that. And then I transferred over to.
You didn't go for the three-peat?
I didn't know. Well, I went to Zamora, and the principal didn't want to let me go. I had to meet with the superintendent, and it turned out the superintendent was my old high school coach, Mr. Zamora.
Oh, coach. Oh, yeah.
He goes, "What?" Because I told him my situation, because I wanted to teach GT kids. They wouldn't let me teach GT kids.
Yeah.
And in some instances, my English classes were doing, including my ESL classes, were doing better than the GT kids. And, because they had their own, they were on their own onda, So I said, hey, I want to, imagine what I could do with those kids,
Right.
And so he wouldn't let me go. He goes, I need you here. You're my best horse. I said, oh, man, I don't want to be a horse.
I'm a donkey.
I'm a mule. Un burro. And so I left, and he was mad at me. And because that's when they were transferring teachers from, Mr. Zamora said, oh, yeah, I want you in my school.
I want you to the school they named after me.
So I went, and I had a fabulous, 6-7 years there. And that's when I was chosen teacher of the district and of Zamora Middle School.
Wow.
So I ended up at...
so you had three Teacher of the Years. And then 2
of the Golden Apple Awards from Channel 5.
Really?
They don't give the Golden Apples anymore. Now they give you this plastic thing, which is, it's okay. But I actually got 2 gold, and I still have them. According to Deborah Knapp, they were made from the same material as the Oscars.
Mm.
I mean, the gold or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just have them.
Well, Deborah Knapp, she just retired too.
Yeah, she did.
And her husband or ex-husband went to South San.
That's right.
Yeah, he's a South San grad.
Yeah. So she said the second time she came to Zamora, she goes, "Haven't I given you one of these already?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, you sure have." And so it turned out that I was the only teacher in Bexar County to ever get 2 golden apples.
Really?
And plus the checks that go with
it. What year were those? Do you remember?
Well, this one I think was in 2008.
Okay.
When I got the last golden apple. 2008. That's why she still remembered me, because it had just been a few more years.
More years.
Anyway, so that was cool, because I wasn't looking to be nominated or anything like that. And so I got up there with Mr. Elias and Mr. Tamez from Dwight, who were teachers of the district as well.
Uh-huh.
And so we joined the ranks. It's funny how all 3 of us were at Dwight.
Well, yeah, that was your superpower. Like you really were able to engage and touch hearts like nobody else, and they could relate. And then you think about it, like you go from elementary, where at least for me, most of my teachers were women.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then you go to Dwight and you have teachers who are men for the first time. And and they're showing you how to like be good men, you know, and reaching you, and it's not just telling you what to do, authoritative, or even as a coach. Mr. Elias was a coach, and I'm sure he saw that style of how you can just tell somebody to do, but being able to treat him almost like an equal.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, oh, he's actually listening to me. Why is he listening? Because he cares.
Exactly.
So,
and you just don't say you care, you live it. You know, you have to live it every day when you show up in the classroom.
And the way you look at, the way you're looking at the kid, I'd never even had Mr. Tamez, and I felt like he always listened to me whenever, you know what I mean? And,
he was that kind of person.
Just the stories he would tell, such like, he's like everybody's Theo, you know?
I used to go to his house because he was a good cook, and he would invite me and my wife. We would go down there and have barbecue or whatever he made. It was awesome. He was him and his wife were, they were exactly the same people.
Really?
Yeah. She was the sweetest, kindest
I met
people.
her for the first time at Mr. Elias's 75th.
Oh, wow. Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So, yeah. So, those three people, both teachers were, we were like up there, like we weren't competing or anything like that. It was just, happening. That's all.
Yeah, we're changing hearts and building communities.
I had two kids that were rowdy. They were gangbangers. I'll be completely honest.
No, in our, I feel like our era, and I'm sure even before, it was all about gangs.
They used to put me out there to do duty right across Dwight, where the church is, that little church. And I had the pastor's boys in my class too.
Yeah.
They were great kids, I tell you that much. And anyway, so they would put me on duty across the street because they were always gang banging out there. The black merchants, I don't know if you remember those guys.
VG.
And the VG. They were all. One time there were two guys that were fighting it out, and I went out there. Nobody would go out there by the church because you couldn't. It's not school property.
Right.
But I would go over there and say, "Hey guys, somebody's gonna get hurt, and it probably gonna be me." And they would start laughing, and then that was the fight. It was over.
Ice, yeah.
And the fight was over until another occasion, but Anyway, so I forgot what I was telling you.
Yeah, no.
So Mr. Tamez and Mr. Elias were also teachers of the year, and I don't know if they got golden apples or not, but I think you had to have been nominated. Oh, you had to have been nominated for the Trinity Prize, which I was nominated when I was at Zamora, and I had to go down there and mingle with all these people from San Antonio. And that year, a lady this was when Katrina happened, and we were picking up students from New Orleans that were affected by the flood.
Yeah, that's when I was there.
There you go. And so that teacher from, I think it was what do you call those? A sentimental gift award, because she was from there. She was a teacher from a special ed teacher from Louisiana. So they gave her the Trinity Prize. And of course, I was a little disappointed, but hey, it's the way life is,
Yeah.
And so I just moved on and kept going and doing what I wanted to do in my class. I still brought artists. I brought Adan Hernandez one time to Zamora. He's the one that did the art and the set for Blood In, Blood Out, that movie. And
About the locals forever.
Oh, man, yeah. And he came to talk to the kids, and he gave out gifts, T-shirts. Kids were all over him, it was just great. The people I met, they also served me in the community, and we helped each other out. So, one thing I learned about artists and poets, they're as much as they are creative and sometimes competitive, they are really the good people, and they're willing to help you out and put in their own time. Back in those days, anyway. So nowadays things have changed a little bit. Things have shifted. We have the book festival, but it's not the same. We had Illuminaria. I don't know if you remember that event. I was there for the first three. The first one was the best. After that, it became commercialized.
Yeah.
And then people from other outside influences were
trying to do their thing.
They were doing. They took over.
You lost the sense of community
yes.
in it.
It became more of a look at
Main
me.
Street.
Yeah. So I didn't do any more luminarias, but that's not to snight on them. Things change and you just move on. So
who were some of you mentioned Mr. Jones. Who else were some pretty legendary teachers at Dwight when you got there?
Well, obviously, probably the teachers that were teachers of the year, but I can't remember
all of them.
None of them except Mr. Jones, because I made that my own commitment to go find out After that, after I found out his style, I said, if I just continue to develop my own style and who I am, I'll be all right.
When did Mr. Bushy get there?
Mr. Bush? Oh, I don't know.
Years
He was
after?
already there.
He was already
A
there
lot of
too
these
with
people-
Mr.
yeah.
Jones.
Mr. Jones, Mr. L,
Mr.
Dr.
L.
Prusky.
Mhm.
I think Mr. L got Teacher of the Year one time. He was spearheading that DARE program, and the kids.
Yeah,
had a lot
Dare
of
was
respect
big
for him. Yeah.
for when we
Yeah.
were there.
And of course, he had lost his son to drugs. I mean, that's what he told me. So
He's still around?
he retired before I did, and so did Dr. Prosk. And they were there. Miss Grybush was there. Miss Reese, Miss Juarez later became Miss Kramer. She
Miss
was
Kramer?
there. She
Yeah,
was
I
still
remember
there.
Miss Kramer. Freak the Mighty,
Yeah,
the book we read. Yeah.
there you go. Oh yeah, and the coaches. Coach Cano was there.
Coach
I remember
Cano.
him. He was a good man.
Coach Cano, he was from Brownsville. I remember
Yeah.
he shot a basketball with such suave, like
Yes.
just like the way he shot, and his mustache too. You can't-
Yeah,
Coach Smurl.
Oh yeah, I remember him. Yeah, but vaguely. But I do remember Coach Cano and Coach Elias, and who else was there? Some of the lady coaches, but I can't remember their names.
I think Coach Jones was young. She like her first
Was
year
she?
when we were there.
Yeah, and then Coach Cano. Well, we would stay after school and play basketball against the kids. So that also helped us touch base with another group of kids.
Yeah.
The jocks and all that.
Right.
So.
Well, I feel like when I was at Dwight, it was very much like very cliquish.
Oh
right?
yeah,
It was,
yeah.
all the jocks were the jocks,
Yep.
and then then you had all the gangsters, and then the jocks were the athletic, the best at it, all the physical things. So especially when you thought fighting, it's like, oh, we'll beat up the gangsters,
Yeah,
right? And so there was always that, and then you had the emo kids or the
Yeah,
punks,
yeah.
right? And then
you had the kids from who didn't fit anywhere. The kids from Mexico.
yeah,
They were just learning, and they were like,
yeah. Well, a lot of times they'd roll up under soccer or
Yeah.
sport or
Sure.
yeah, I mean
Sure.
others, but yeah, I mean then the band kids.
Oh yeah, the band kids. Mr. Hooper, he was the first band director, I think, when I was there. And they had him down in the basement, out there in the annex where I was. And,
Old Dwight.
there was a
Dwight?
basement
Mhm.
down there, which was the original cafeteria of all things. I had never been down there,
Really?
but he was down there with the band kids.
So what?
We always called it the dungeon.
We say the original annex, 'cause it wasn't the D building. It was
It was the one that was closest to South Cross or Quintana.
okay.
But they knocked it down.
They knocked it down. Yeah, it was part of the
that
old
the
one.
original high school. The original South San High School.
And the
that
cafeteria was in the basement.
In the basement.
Really?
And I mean, nobody knew that,
Mm-hmm.
but Hooper did.
he was
down
there. He was.
Yeah.
He was getting lunch.
And so, yeah, when I first got there, you're right about cliquish. There were groups everywhere, and if you didn't belong to that clique, and I'm not going to mention names, but
Yeah.
you just weren't treated as a faculty member. Find out on your own. Really, they treated me like that when I first got there.
Really?
Like nobody would talk to you. I said, it's all right. I'm my own teacher anyway, so I'm not here to connect. Yeah, exactly. That's why I stayed away from the teachers' lounge, because there was too much gossip for me, and I didn't want to be influenced. Especially about kids who were a little bit harder to get along with. But let me find out my way to connect with them.
Right.
And after a while, after I had some successes, people started complaining to the principal, well, why can't I have those writers in my class? He goes, because Flores has connections,
Yeah, he's
And
able to
got
connect.
the bilingual department to back him up. They would finance we would go on field trips. They hadn't taken kids on field trips in years. You know what the first field trip there at Dwight was? Or the first
That you
few
remember?
field trips? And after I saw that, I was totally dejected, because I said, oh my God, what are the kids really learning? They would bring in the prisoners from Huntsville, and they were all dressed in the orange garb and shackled, and they would bring them in on a bus. With,
To Dwight?
Yeah.
What?
To the DPS, and the DPS was, the officers. And these guys were, hardcore.
Yeah.
And they would talk to the kids, on their terms, tell them their experiences.
Really?
And, we were all just like, at the end of each one, like,
Who organized that?
I don't know.
So who's superintendent?
Well, I don't think you want to know. But anyway, that was their idea of a field trip. Get them out of class and into the old gym,
Right.
which was hotter than what. Remember the old gym?
Yeah.
With the wooden floors and all that? And
No.
no?
I don't remember the old gym.
Yeah,
It was they
hot.
had, they had just redid the school.
Yeah,
So
okay,
when
so
I got there, it was the new. It was the only original part was the D building.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I was, in the annex. They called it the annex when I was there.
Oh, okay.
And so the art teacher was out there. Special ed was out there.
Special ed is where. Well, and when I was in my dyslexia class, because the building across the street they used for the dyslexia.
I remember that one. Yeah.
And then they would pull me out of your class, pull me out of reading and
all your good classes. Hey, come on!
I was like, hey, I'm learning better how to write. No, actually, Miss Greenberg. I don't know if did you remember her?
I don't remember.
She was on her own, but I know she worked for the district, and she would, man, she was an angel and changed my life completely.
Oh, wow.
Like, she sat with me and I was already, of course I knew my ABCs by then, but it was the power of repetition. And when I'm talking some old school videos, right? VHS of a real old white lady on the board, and she's writing on a chalk like this, and she's drawing a big old A, and we'd say our ABCs together, me and her, like A, B, and then we'd write cursive, and she taught me the rules of reading, like the legitimate structure of, and I'm not talking general pass your TOS test or tax test, right? Rules. I'm talking like, okay, these are irregular words, and you just have to memorize this list, and these are the general rules when you see these structures, and with every single combination, like all of them, like I feel English should be taught that way, but. Without her, I would have. I mean, I caught up eventually, but we used to be in the D building or the annex,
How about that?
and I'd spend some time there. And I'd see the special ed students as well.
Right, and right next to my classroom, there were two teachers, young teachers, but they were in charge of the behavioral unit. And every once in a while, and they would have kids from the high school, older kids, and also once in a while things would go off the wall, and they'd be wrestling people on the floor. One time I went in there because my kids got scared. It sounded like people were throwing stuff against the walls. And so I went in there to see if they needed help. They had this kid on the ground. He said, "Don't worry, Mr. Flo, we got him. Wow. Talk about teaching, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to that young man, but, gee, it was quite a trip out there in the annex.
Right.
It was no man's land.
No man's land. Well, right there behind the building, it was all fights there, and the alley right behind. Walking home,
you never knew what you were going to run into.
Right.
But I remember when they passed the bond to create the new school after they built it, because we could see them right there.
What year was that?
Jeez, 90-something. I want to say 94, 95. Because I was already teacher of the year the second time, so it had to be 96, 97 in that area. And so I remember the kids had to carry their own desks to move into the new building. Here all these junior high kids carrying desks to put them in the classroom. And I remember I got my new classroom. I was like, whoa, this is nice. Thank you, community.
Yeah.
And because of the old annex, and they finally, just knocked it down. Moved it out. Yeah. But then I taught mainly in that area for the rest of the duration of my career at Dwight. I was in that section, the new section. Sometimes they would put me up, sometimes they would put me down.
Yeah, I think when I was there, it was 8th graders on the top floor and 7th graders on the bottom, or 7th and 6th, or I don't remember. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and then, they would move you, depending on the principal would come and whatever.
Change things up.
Yeah, if he thought you were malcontent or something. I remember one year they sent one teacher who was the head of my department. They sent him out to the annex next to me. I think it was like a reprimand. Right?
Was it?
Yeah. And I said, "Hey, welcome to the neighborhood."
What was it called? Do you remember Mr. Hendrickson?
Yes, I do.
He was a white science teacher. I remember he used to go, "Jesus, you're going to no man's land," and that's what he caught. He had this one desk by himself, he'd separated it, so anybody who got in trouble would go to no man's land, and they'd sit by themselves. and he passed away. I heard a few years back.
I saw him on the paper, his obituary. A lot of teachers have already gone that way, man.
Yeah, it's wild, and you don't. It's a shame you can't have a way to connect and just have a conversation with them and reach back out and say thank you.
When I first started at Edgewood, a lot of my friends that I made, they were young too. Some of them have already passed on, man. Like about 4 or 5 of them, including the principal that hired me at Memorial.
Who was the principal?
Mr. Arriaga. he saw something in me that I hadn't seen in myself. He goes, hey, how would you like to go to the high school with me? Because they were transferring him to high school. I said, shoot, I'd love it, So, he took me, and I got hired over there. And my second year, I had seniors already. So can you imagine how that felt? Wow.
Like you said, you're not too much more older than
no,
they are.
I thought I was in heaven. I mean,
6 years older than 7 years older.
Like
than
talking to you right now, young men, young ladies. I mean, gosh, if that doesn't make you feel serious about your job, I don't know what else will. Because they're on the verge of already going out into the community and going out and making their own way. And
so these are the last years with their guardrails up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I don't know, but I wish I would have stayed in. Once in a while, I'll run into a person I taught in Edgewood, and they're always very sweet people. Now that they're adults, but and of course the same goes
they're probably
for
grandparents now.
Oh yeah, probably. And the same goes for the community here at South San. I was always enamored of my students, because I saw myself in them, and I said, what kind of teacher would I want them to see me be, for them, not just
do you
sit
remember
down and shut up or that kind of stuff.
Right.
That never flew in my classroom. I'm not saying I didn't have challenges, but there were ways to get around.
Yeah, there's different approaches to address the situation. Do you remember Mr. Bird and Mrs. Bird?
I remember Mr. Bird, but not his wife or what?
No, his mom.
Oh,
his mom taught at Athens.
Oh, wow.
I didn't go to Athens, but my parents had Miss Bird, or my mom had Miss Bird at Athens, and then Mr. Bird. I remember I had a closed book on because he was reading for 8th grade. And he'd tell me, closed book, never open a mine, Jesus. and I'll never forget that. But was he there when you were there?
Yeah, he was a nice man.
By the time you got there,
he was there until the day I switched schools.
Okay, so when you got there, he was already there.
Yeah.
And
he continued afterwards. Him and Mr. Navarro. Navarro came in later.
Yeah, he came in later, right?
But he stayed there for the duration after I left. And Mr. Bird was always a nice man. He had a shop over here, one of the little strip malls of Military.
Did he?
Yeah,
what did he
sold
sell?
T-shirts and athletic stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
He always had football for the kids at was it the AR points? I don't remember what it was, but he'd give away footballs and basketballs and
he had them in his shop. I went there a couple of times just to see what it was like. But he was a sweet man. And I know he had property somewhere in East Texas, a ranch or something. And then, we became friends on Facebook.
That's how I followed up with him, and saw some of that.
Probably still the same guy he's always been. I mean, he was always a people person, too. And who else? Mr. Navarro. I think I remember Miss Thackett was Teacher of the Year one time.
Miss Tackett?
Yeah, Tackett.
At South San?
No, she was at Dwight.
No way.
Yes, when I got there. And
I thought she was at South San
the
whole time.
She transferred after I stayed there, and then one year she was gone.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember that tall lady? She was kind of reminded me of Don Meredith.
Miss Walden?
Yes,
Miss Walden. Yeah, Miss Walden.
Yeah, she taught at
Dwight?
Dwight.
She was my principal. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and then she went over there to South San was principal. She was a good.
I think she was vice principal. Then she was a Southwest, and then came back as principal.
I kind of lost track after they left my school because once you become glued to your kids,
Yeah, once you gave them the blessing to go, you said, "Okay, she can go now. She's got to stay."
Yeah, and I think she was Teacher of the Year once. And
what did she teach?
Tackett, I think she taught social studies.
Miss Walden?
Yeah, and so did Tackett, I think. No,
she was writing English.
English, okay, yeah.
And she just passed away.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah, I heard. Oh, a lot of teachers have passed away from South San.
And she lived in the neighborhood, Miss Tackett.
Wow.
She lived right across the street.
She seemed to be a people person. I never really associated with
Talked to her too much.
There was no time sometimes.
What about Miss Suter? You know Miss Suter?
Yeah, I knew her.
Miss Suter taught my parents in the 6th grade when my parents both first met. And Miss Suter taught me and Judith in the 6th grade where we first met.
Wow, the irony.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
Wow. You can't script those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a couple right now that I don't want to mention their names without their permission, but the young man was always all over her, and she would come to tell me for advice, "Sir, I can't get rid of him." I said, "Well, you might as well make friends with him because he might be able to help you out one day, And so he wouldn't let her go, And so, and then I mean, he was so much in love with her, and finally she capitulated. And they ended up getting married. They went to the high school, South San together.
Yeah.
They graduated together. They got married together, and they're still together.
Still together.
And
those are the
he's a
stories.
church, he's a spiritual person now. But I'm so happy for both of them because they outlasted, what's the time
stigma.
limit for young people to stay married? Jeez, especially
Right.
in high school. I mean, in
Right.
junior high. Jeez.
Yeah, those stories are and to make it work, you
And
know.
they're still friends with me on Facebook because they approached me one day and say, "Hey, sir, what's going on?"
That's awesome.
So I still know them.
Is that the couple you wrote about in your book?
Yes,
I
yes.
remember.
Yeah.
Well, in your manuscript.
Yeah,
It's
the
not
manuscript.
Not out yet.
I said they deserve a little poem.
Little spotlight in there.
Yeah, a little spotlight. And so, yeah, that was the extent of, so I've always been passionate about writing and literature. And I always knew I had a gift for it, but I didn't know how it was going to work out for me in my life. I had no desire to be a teacher. And as much as I respected them, most of the teachers I had when growing up, they just taught by the book, read chapter, whatever, answer the questions at the end. That was
Right. So let's go into that a little bit. I talked about the timeline workshop. You share an impactful event that happened each year of your life. Feel free to jump around. You don't have to go every year, but just give an idea of what it was like for you, Mr. Flores, growing up.
Well, going all the way back, the thing that had the most impact on me was my father's death. And I was just barely 1 year old when my father died. So I never knew my dad. We never had any relationship. He wasn't around. He was passed off. But that, I always grew up thinking like I was missing something. And, I'm sure you and your dad have a great relationship. It's not always easy, but, you work at it. I didn't have that experience, And my dad was in the military. He fought in World War II in the Pacific.
Oh, wow.
Against the Japanese, and he got his Purple Heart. And so I always grew up looking at my mother's hope chest, looking at it because I saw his uniform there, his gun. He had a gun there. He had the American flag that they give you when somebody dies, the tricorner, and his Purple Heart with Thomas Jefferson on there, And I always look at it, and my mother said, "Get out of there." She didn't like me nosing around, but I've always been curious as a kid. So
where'd your dad go to school? Was he from San
they were
Antonio?
from South Texas, Mirando City, out there by Laredo, Texas, between Hebron, Falfurrias. But they grew up in Mirando, which was an oil boom town. I've done my research after that. And I tried to find out everything I could about my parents. And I learned a lot because my mom didn't want to talk about it. I had to respect that. But you would hear things growing up, and they would stay with you.
Right.
Like, tú salites como tu papá, what does that mean?
Right.
How did my dad turn out?
Give me more.
Yeah, and they wouldn't. So I had to respect that because, my mom, you just don't disrespect your mother or your grandmother, not in our culture. You get slapped or something,
How old was your dad?
My dad was 25.
He died.
My mom was 25. They were pretty much in the same. She was valedictorian of her high school class.
Really?
And my dad was the legend football player,
There you go.
captain of the team. He was in every sport. So when I look at pictures of my dad from those years in the Mirando Panther log, that's what it was called. I find my mom, my relatives, my aunts and uncles, they're all in there. And my dad, with his basketball uniform, with his football, he was captain and quarterback of the football
What
team.
year did he graduate?
Jeez. It had to have been in the late 30s. My mom, too, also in the 30s, because after that, World War II came
Right.
around.
Yeah.
So he was already.
He got drafted or volunteered?
I think he volunteered. My dad was that kind of person. And, they were always looking for opportunities to better their families and the American dream, right?
Right.
The prototype of the American dream.
No, I mean, he lived through the Great Depression.
Oh, man. Yeah. And my grandparents, too,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we weren't rich. We were struggling families, especially back then. And then without a dad, my mom, being as smart as she was able to land a job in San Antonio at the police department. So I think that was her first job. Of course, we lived on the west side off of Navidad Street. And so, it was right close to the projects, but at least we had a house. But after that, she bought a house. She moved over to work at Kelly. And
She
of
worked
course,
right here at Kelly?
Yeah. She
Wow.
got better opportunities, for the family, and she bought her own house. And, for a woman in those days, that was we
Big time.
didn't
Big
think
time.
anything of it, but You know,
Yeah.
everybody on our street was a veteran of the military.
Mm-hmm.
They had either been in Europe or on the east,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in the East Coast.
Well, she was valedictorian.
Yeah.
And
And
she had it going for her.
Yeah,
she
she
knew how to
did.
work hard.
Man, I told my brother the other day, do you remember mom ever getting sick? She goes, no. Even if she was, she didn't stay home. She worked it. That's where we got our work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we just didn't call in sick because I don't feel like teaching today,
Mm-hmm.
or the kids gave me a hard time yesterday, so I'm taking the day off. Nah, man, we just toughed it out. You know?
Right.
And so I hardly ever was absent. And when I retired, I had a bundle of days that the state paid me for because it, unused
PTO,
leave.
yeah.
And so that was a plus. But yeah, so we grew up in difficult circumstances. My grandmother became my father figure, and Granny would rule with an iron fist.
Did she come up to San Antonio or she stayed
She
down
came. Well, they were immigrants from Mexico.
Okay.
When they first crossed over, so my mom and my dad were first generation Americans, and then we're second generation.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still brand new in a way. But you know, that was tough after my dad's death, and you know. So anyway, so
How many brothers?
I have two brothers.
Two brothers. So it's all three.
Yeah, all three of us.
Okay.
And one of my brothers is a stepbrother. But we never considered him that. He's our full brother. The way I see it, he was a firefighter recently till he retired. So anyway, yeah, I grew up under difficult circumstances, and I was talking about my teachers because I think that's what you asked me. And the teachers I had were mainly by the book. You know, they didn't challenge you. You just sat there, took notes in each class, whether it was English, social studies, science, biology. You had to have a notebook for each class. And a textbook. So we'd go home with books like this. I mean, those textbooks were thick.
Big.
And Bobby Lara was my social studies coach. I mean, teacher. He was at South San.
At South San?
He was the first principal that hired me at Dwight. He was the principal there.
He was the principal
When I
at
showed
Dwight
up.
when you first got there?
Yeah. I had gone to, I actually gone to apply at Kazan. And I guess
It had just opened, right?
Yeah, Mr. Bejarano saw me. And I had an interview with him, and I guess he didn't like my appearance because I still had my hair long from UT and all that.
Well, your hair's always been long.
I've always had it
yeah.
that way. I never. Trust me, I ran across some racist remarks coming up the
For
ranks,
it?
but yeah. One guy from one professor at because I had to take summer at one class at San Marcos when it was still known as Southwest
Texas.
And so they accepted me to go in there, and I had an interview with him, and he saw me come in, and he goes, you know, just because they allow you to dress like that at UT, that's not going to fly here. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
He said, you're going to need to cut your hair. I said, all right, no problem. Cut my hair. It's just hair, you know. But I never cut it anyway. I just gave him the yes word. Anyway, so yeah, most of the teachers were diehard. Back in those days, there wasn't very many Socratic dialogue where you get the classes involved. Yeah, they did question you if you knew an answer from a book or something.
Well, I remember Socratic discussions from his Gallagher.
Oh, yeah.
We were like, it was like built into the curriculum.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I tried to do that. At Dwight, it was difficult because the audience wasn't as trained. They hadn't come up that way
I
yet.
mean, you're young. Middle school years are tough.
But I did use it the last few years that I was there at Dwight. And, oh my God, it was beautiful working. They it got so good for me at Dwight. And two boys that were rowdy in other classes, they would be rowdy on purpose because the counselor told me, do you mind taking these kids both for reading and language arts? I said, what's wrong with her reading teacher? He goes, well, they're giving her a hard time and this and that. And so they sent them to me, and I had no trouble with those kids after that. You know, they stayed in my class for 2 hours.
Good kids.
And then they didn't want to go after that.
Yeah.
Sir, why can't we stay with you all day? What do you mean all day? There's only so much. I mean, because they even started writing poetry.
Yeah.
I mean, these two gangbangers. At the end of the year, they gifted me their little book because I had kids do their own book. And they could illustrate it, whatever. And so they came up with all this Chicano movement thing. And they gave me I still have them. I still kept their books at my house.
That's awesome.
So just so, you know, I said, I got to pinch myself that these guys actually, you know, because you never know what's going to happen in the classroom. The dynamics can go either way, you know.
Right.
And,
So your mom bought a house in Kelly, and then
Yeah.
where did you go to? You went to middle. Where did you go to middle school?
oh well, I was at
School?
St. John Birchman's. I think you know where
Right
that's
there,
at.
right here,
Yeah.
a couple.
Yeah.
Sam.
But the old one was over here close to Lowell. If you know where Lowell Middle School is, across the bridge that goes over.
Yeah,
past-
that big bridge, like Quintana, where everybody
Yeah.
races.
Yeah, right
General
there.
Hundo.
No, this one was over here closer to
The opposite side?
to Zamora and Frio City Road.
Oh, okay.
It was
on that
Kirk.
side.
And Kirk ran all the way up to Couples. And right in that area, right across Lowell Middle School, was St. John Birchman's, the original St. John Birchman's.
Ah,
And that's where I went to school. That was before the bridge, before all the new homes that they built. The railroad tracks are still there, and they're still there.
yeah.
Lowell was just a brand new school. And, there was Harriman Street and Frio City Road down the street and Zamora. So, we would walk home by then. By the time we were in middle school, I was still at St. John Birchman's because it went from first grade to eighth grade.
Eighth grade.
Yeah, and it was taught by the nuns from the Immaculate
Sisters.
Heart of Mary, yeah. And they were Belgium nuns, and, they had come through the hard times in
yeah.
World War II.
Right.
And they were, some of them were
tough.
really strict. I mean, if you did something that they didn't like, you'd get a ruler across your hands or you get slapped in the face. I saw a couple of my friends get slapped, and then she would look at me, you want some food? No, thank you, sister.
That's why you had long hair, so you could protect.
Well, I was just a little kid, in the 7th and 8th grade, and and then they started making plans to build a new St. John Birchman. So my class ended up going to St. Stephen's. I don't know if you know that church. It's on Zamora, where the old Handy Andy used to be,
Okay.
and the Brady Gardens, close to where my first house was, and we started going there for 8th grade. And of course, I was an altar boy, so my grandmother would maybe get up at 6 a.m, go serve mass. And 7th grade through 8th grade, I was an altar boy, till they kicked me out for being a necio. Me and my other friend. After a while, we just started going for the girls, right? 'Cause we thought we were little priests. We looked professional.
Yeah, we're cool.
Yeah, we were cool. And anyway, so that was the end of that. But our teachers were mostly, very disciplinarian.
Did you learn about poetry then?
If I did, I remember reading in my reader one of the poems from Langston Hughes. This I do remember, because in those days they would call them basils. If you were in the 6th grade, you got a 6th grade basal, which was a reading book, literature combination. And they were thick books. This wasn't no mamby-pamby little book. And so I remember reading a poem called Life Ain't Been No Crystal Stair by Langston Hughes. And it was a black lady. It was a picture of a black lady, and she's talking about her experiences as a mother, and a very short poem, not very long. But I said, that's my family right there. Life ain't been no crystal stair. I was still going, honey. I still going. At the end of the poem, I said, oh, man, that's my grandmother, my mom. Jesus, that poem was written for me.
Yeah.
I tucked it away in my mind and my heart. And, I didn't bother to write it down because I figured some point I might find that book in the library or something. Anyway, I did come across it later on. I still use the book. The poem, once in a while I'll read it too, depending on the audience. But, that was inspirational for me. I didn't know who Langston Hughes was. We didn't have any black kids at our school. They were all mainly, Mexican-American and white boys and girls and people that came from the military whose families were at Kelly or Lackland. They ended up at St. John Birchwood. And overall, it was a good school. It was, I learned a lot. From there, I went to La Salle High School, which was run by the Christian Brothers, which is the building right across the H-E-B Grande right here on Zamora. There's a building there. You probably don't even know it. You see it.
The H-E-B Plus.
Yeah, that one.
The
yeah, there you go.
Where the Levi Stratus across, where it used to be, but across the street.
And it was first Farrah. They used to make clothes, and then Levi's. And when we were there, our school was right across the street. And it was
what was your graduating class? What size?
I don't know, maybe about 40, 50 guys. And they were all guys.
Yeah, it was a boys.
But it was a college prep school.
Oh,
so the brothers didn't cut us any slack.
What were they? What were they?
It was the
Franciscans?
no, it was the what was it? Jean Baptiste de La Salle. there were the Lasallian order, the Christian brothers, the ones that make the wine. That I do remember. The Christian brothers.
Did you help them with that?
No. I would have helped them drink some of it.
That's what I mean. Was this before? Was the age limit still 21?
Yeah.
This
was in the 60s, so I was like 17, 18 years old. Well, when I got there.
Or was it 18? Because it was 18 for a while, right? When they came with.
I think so.
I don't remember. Yeah, I thought it was something about the war.
When I was there, it was 64, and I should have graduated in 69. And so it was a great school because the brothers were preparing you for college. It was like being in a GT class,
right? For
every class, And so I started developing my interest in literature. I would go to the bookstore, save my lunch money, and buy books, novels from because we had a little bookstore, and you could buy your own books. I said, "Dang, that's great!" I was a lover of books already, and so I would end up buying books and just carry them around. Like, hey, look at me,
Look at me, I'm reading these big old things.
I'm reading Ernest Hemingway today, So you thought you were bad to the bone. And anyway, so we went all the way through junior year, and I had some fantastic teachers. And my senior year is the year they closed the school because the archdiocese couldn't afford. They had just opened Antonian. The Christian brothers had branched out to the north side, and Holy Cross was having trouble too. But they had a sponsor, Vicky Carr, the singer from California. She helped keep that school alive. Yeah.
Did she go there? Is that why? No.
Well, she I think she was from Texas, but I don't remember where.
Vicky Carr.
Yeah, she became a huge star. She was on TV all over the place. But she was Mexican American. Her last name was Carranza, Victoria Carranza. But of course, in those days,
had to shorten it.
Yeah. Anyway, so she was known as Vicky Carr, and she came and sang, and they did a thing, and Holy Cross stayed open. Antonian, they had just committed the funds for them, so they didn't need any sponsors because the archdiocese was backing them up. And when it came to our school, we had a big meeting in our school. I remember them asking the parents, what would you do if we raised the tuition? Because the tuition was cheap. I mean, I don't want to say cheap as in cheap education. It was just
affordable, really affordable.
Yeah, there you go. And so my mom signed yes. I'll continue to, so I could finish. But it didn't work out for the community. I don't think they had enough parents, to back them up. So we said, well, how about if we get a patron like Vicky Carr? Who are we going to get? Well, how about Trini Lopez? I don't know if you remember that song, If I Had a Hammer. If I had a hammer. He became famous for that song. Also out of Cali. So, and he was Mexican American. But, he kept his name, Trini Lopez. So anyway.
Like Freddie Fender. Who else? Blanco Jimenez.
Yeah, those came later. Yeah. So, they closed. So I wasn't able to graduate from La Salle. But what they taught me was so invaluable to me that when I went to, I won't mention the school, but when I went to public school, it was
day and night.
Totally like being back in, open the book, answer the questions. I knew that system very well.
Yeah.
So, and then one teacher, I was taking an accounting class because I needed an elective. So I took an accounting class and I was good in math. The teacher made me be her tutor. And I thought, well,
hold on. The teacher asked you as a student to tutor her in.
No, to tutor the kids.
Oh, tutor the kids. Okay.
Because you had to, you had to do a lot of work. Debits, credits. You had to keep books for an imaginary company, and you had to balance the books.
Okay.
And,
to me, that was
okay. Yeah. It's like balancing your checkbook now. But anyway, so I didn't really like that because I said, well, what am I getting out of it? So I was already teaching in a way.
Right, at the beginning.
My classmates, Of course, I didn't mind.
Did your brothers, they're older, one of them was older?
Yeah, my brother finished at
he finished at La Salle.
Yeah. He still got his ring and his stuff. And my younger brother, he graduated from Central.
Central.
And my mom said, do you want to go to Central or Holy Cross? I said, no, I don't. There'll never be a school like La Salle again.
You should have went to South San.
It was too far. That's what it was.
Yeah. Well, back then you had to go wherever you were at too.
And as it is, we used to my mom used to drop us off at the old Rexall drugstore on Nogalitos. Believe it or not, there was an old Rexall. She would drop us off in the corner and the bus would pick us up in freezing weather, raining weather. Didn't matter. We would be there in that corner and they would take us to La Salle, the bus, the city bus. Zamora all the way down to military. Get off the bus and go to school. come back. Later on, as I got older, I had
So
friends with cars.
this was like 67, 66.
Yeah.
Where were you when Kennedy died? Got shot.
I was at St. John Berchmans, 63.
Do you remember?
Yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the day?
Yep, I sure do. We went. I mean, the tensions were so high. The nuns were all excited that he had just been in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
the day before?
Yeah, we didn't have TV to watch or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
like nowadays. And so we just got it all. You know, people would come in and tell you what was going on.
You didn't go to the parade that they had here in
No,
San
my mom
Antonio?
did.
Your mom
because,
did?
Yeah, she wanted us in school.
Somebody watched these
Yeah,
little
but because
kids.
she was in Kelly, they allowed the
Yeah,
Kelly-
that's
they
well because
went. She came home with pictures of Kennedy and all this and all that.
Wow.
And we saw him, and then you know the next day he was assassinated, and we were having class, and the nun came in crying. One of the sisters came in crying and said, "Oh my God!" And she told our teacher, we didn't know what was going on. We were just looking at each other, and our teacher said, "We're all going to chapel right now. The president has been shot." We were like, "What?" We didn't understand what all that meant.
Mm-hmm.
I did a little bit more because of my situation, but
Yeah, your mom was always open with you, and
well, up to a point. Yeah,
Okay.
up to a point. No graphic details.
right, just
But yeah, this involved my dad. So anyway, so we heard about it. We all went to church, to St. John Berchmans Church, the original one, which was over there on Harriman, and you know they took us there, and then they let us go. All the nuns were crying, and parents were crying. The kids were like stunned,
yeah.
especially the older kids. They knew a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And so they sent us home. We just walked home. Me and my friend Albert, we walked home all the way from school. We would always walk home anyway. So they let us out. We were like, stunned.
Just like a half day they let you out, or
yeah,
or
they
mean
let us out right after, like around, I don't know what time the president got shot anymore, but right after noon sometime. And I remember we would practice hiding under our desks in case of a nuclear attack. Excuse me. Because in those days, the Red Menace, you know, they did show us films, but like this red hand coming all over the world, communism. And we were like, oh my God, it's coming. So we would practice sitting under the desk or staying under the desk in case of a bomb. But I thought, that ain't going to help us.
Yeah.
Somebody drops a nuclear bomb like they did on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Those
Those
desks aren't
we
doing
ain't
much.
going to be doing anything. Anyway, so we outlived that. And so, you know, it was a sad year, but then the Beatles came around real shortly after that. So that helped us with a lot of our angst and anger and poured in our energy.
Channeled it into music. And
My friend Albert started a band, and so I joined. He asked me to join.
what'd you play?
I played rhythm guitar, and he was the lead, and once in a while I would sing a song.
You still play?
Yeah, I still do. And so I don't have the old guitars. I sold them to other people, but yeah. That was fun being in a band. We even played at the Battle of the Bands down at La Villita when it was still a thing to do.
Hold on.
During Fiesta.
Battle of the Bands used to be at La Villita?
La Villita for, you know, they would have like for rock groups and stuff.
Oh, okay. It wasn't I thought you meant Battle of the Bands that they have at Alamo Stadium.
It was called Battle of the Bands before they started doing the stadium thing.
Really?
And it was just local guys that come and play and
okay.
rock out.
So the schools kind of copied that concept and
Well, we did it on our own. You
Okay.
know, we just played. We like to play. We were a little garage band. We would play in the neighborhood. Kids would come from the courts to hear us. We thought we were all bad. And we would play Rolling Stones, you know, the Dave Clark Five, blues, whatever. Whatever Albert had us, because he was a good guitarist. And so we did that. And
he was the lead?
Yeah, he was the lead. And a couple other guys from the school were, I think Jerry Ramirez was our lead singer. And then Pete, my friend Pete, who later joined the Air Force, and he was a firefighter too with the Air Force, and he was our drummer. So we would practice at each other's houses and stuff like that, and we got to be pretty good. And we played right here at Jamar Village. I don't know if you know, right across Kennedy High School. You know where that is? There used to be a little area there. It was known as Jamar Village, and they had a little like a sock hop at one of those local little they would sell fountain drinks and cherry cokes and
Yeah,
and a lot of the white people from the military were living in Jamar Village, and they would come to that business. So they asked us to play one time, and we went in there and played, and they were rocking out, man.
Yeah, you had a crowd.
We had all these white people dancing. We were playing Beatles, Rolling Stones, whatever. And
Did you sing?
once in a while, I would sing some songs. not often, but I think I was too shy, but I would concentrate on the guitar.
The guitar.
Then of course, we went all over the place in the city, played at different little venues and things like that. But that was the extent of my musical career. Albert kept going with his. He became a music teacher, and I think he was a music teacher at Lowell, then at Burbank, and then he was at Jeff. I think he finished somewhere, one of those schools. But he's still playing. He plays with a group called, I forgot it was Mainstream for a while, but I don't know what they're doing now. And that's where I met Mario Arias here at Zamora. Mr. Arias, he still plays.
Yeah.
And he's a darn good guitar player. And so
you said that Mr. Zamora was your coach. Did he coach at La Salle?
Yeah, he was a coach, our football, basketball coach.
Really?
And, Bobby Lara was our baseball coach and basketball coach. Yeah. And my RP instructor.
So he did both at South San and at
well,
La Salle?
I don't know what he did at South. He was already a principal. Mr. Lara was the principal when I got to Dwight. He had already been in education for a while now because he started there at our school, La Salle. And Bobby Lara was already assistant superintendent when Mr. Durbin was the superintendent. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah, he was my superintendent.
Okay.
Yeah. But I remember Coach Zamora was the coach at Dwight.
Yeah.
So maybe he was doing both.
I didn't know that. He might have been before I got there, but when you
were in school at middle school, like if you were in middle school, he would have been a coach.
Well, that's possible because after I went to UT, I didn't. I lost track of all of them.
Yeah,
I never thought I'd meet my coaches again or anybody, but I do know Mr. Lara because I was in his class. So when he saw me walk into Dwight, he goes, "Fernando, what are you doing here?" I'm here to apply for a job. He goes, "You got it."
How old is Mr. Lara?
Lara?
Yeah, he's got to be.
Oh man, now shoot, he's probably in his 80s.
Yeah,
for sure.
Mid 80s.
Probably. I hear he's still around. Mr. Zamora is still around. I think Durbin is still around.
I think he passed.
Oh,
he
Mr. Durbin. Yeah, that's right. He did. Oh my God. And the original superintendent was Mr. Harper. Back in the day when I started, it was Mr. Harper. And you didn't have too many Hispanics in administrative positions.
Those roles, right? Yeah. Well, wasn't your brother?
Afterwards, he started.
What was his career like?
He started
education as well.
Yeah,
right?
education. He was social studies. That was his major at Southwest, and then he got hired to teach migrants and bilingual kids at Palo Alto, and after that he became vice principal, and then he transferred to Hutchins, and then they hired him as principal. And then later on, he became executive director of the curriculum department for many years. That's where he finished his career. And in the admin, he was an admin. By then, things were totally different. He had a lot of responsibility. I'll tell you that much.
So, what did you tell him? Did you give him any slack for going to the dark side?
No,
to the admin.
Are you kidding? I hardly saw my brother in those years because he was everywhere, busy. And I didn't have time to, associate really with too many people. When you're that invested.
I never realized because I remember seeing your brother and I was like, man, one's a little thicker than the other one. I was like, but
my older brother.
Y'all both look like you could tell that y'all are family for sure. But
that's what they keep telling me. Hey, you look just like Robert. Hey, come on. Sibling rivalry.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of like even Mr. Ruben Flores. I mean, there was a lot of Flores.
Oh, Elda,
Miss Flores and Mr. Flores. Yeah.
You know where I saw Miss Elda when you were having that the first community thing you did.
The first block.
She showed up.
Yeah. She's on our board for the.
Oh, really?
For building a purpose.
And she was my director for a while when I was serving in the curriculum department because I was there for a good 5, 6, 7 years. They gave us a lot of responsibility to come up with curriculums that teachers could follow day by day for the whole year.
Right.
6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We put in a lot of time in that. And then I heard, after I retired, they got rid of it. I said, oh my God, I still have all my material.
You still have all your stuff.
I said, how could you get rid of it? That was so good for people. Whether they followed it or not, that's on their conscience. Yeah. But we developed good products, man. I mean, we were like, whoa. And then they started getting mad at us because when I left, my principal got mad. Oh, Zamora took all the best teachers that I had. But that was not true, And so, Dwight.
I don't know.
That,
You were a pretty good teacher. I mean, almost 3-peat back to back. 2 golden apples, Mr. Flores. Come on.
Well, I can see why you didn't want to let me go, but I didn't let that, like, I'm not that kind of person.
No. You had done so much for the regular kids. I mean, I was in your regular class. I wasn't. I mean, actually, and I just thought it was the dyslexic. So they were pulling me out. I was a low performer, but how you were able to just really launch kids up, and I think you wanted to challenge yourself.
To
right?
tell you the truth, I never considered any of the kids with special needs as if they were any different. I treated them the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one year at Zamora, they brought in a student, and he was on a wheelchair, and he had the oxygen tank and the respirator.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Sir, I'm going to be in your class." I said, "All right, well, come on in, man." He goes, "Where do you want to sit?" He goes, "I want to sit right next to you." I said, "Well, orderly, park it," and you're there. and all the kids were they loved him because, they had grown up with him. And he was just a charmer. He was such a beautiful young man. And he went on to graduate from high school. He sent me a picture of him going to the prom.
Did he?
He was in his wheelchair.
Nice.
And he had this beautiful looking senior next to him. He said, "Hey," his name was Neffy. I said, "How'd you get so lucky, Neffy?"
Yeah.
"You got all the beautiful girls." He goes, "Well, you know how it is, sir." But he was such a great kid. And once in a while, I mean, he would, he had a lot of operations, and he would come back, and we would miss him when he left. And, he was a great kid, and then he passed away.
I heard
a few years ago. And
I think he was my sister's grade.
Oh my God, I really cried, and he would say I think his mom had a restaurant. They were not from Mexico. I forgot where they were from, Honduras or Nicaragua or somewhere. Mm-hmm. He would bring me tacos from his mom's. He goes, "My mom said to give you this huge tacos." I said, I said, "Neffy, this is gonna be lunch, breakfast for a week." He would just laugh it off. But they were such great people,
Yeah.
I always got along with I would invite the parents to come when whoever had open night, and I would make the kids read. I said, "If you're gonna come, you're gonna read to your parents what you're doing and tell them what you learned."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they would put on a show.
Yeah.
Because the parents would walk away like, "Wow," So nobody's ever treated them like that, So I had a blast doing that. I would pass on the work to the kids.
Right.
I mean, after all, they are 50% of your audience besides yourself.
Oh yeah.
And if you're not teaching them anything, what are you going to do? It's more than just showing a bunch of grades on a grade book. You know what I mean? So, and 1 year I had Mr. Durbin's grandson and his granddaughter in my class.
Did they go to South San? His grandkids?
Yes.
Oh,
The pressure to
teach them.
And then I had Mr. Zamora's grandson and his granddaughter. And then I had Mr. Perez, Councilman Perez's son and daughter in my class. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're not up for it,
That's something I respect a lot. I think for the leaders, and especially the people who went to South San to send their kids, and the stigma that's always been around it. But what I will say is there's always been opportunity.
Yeah.
The cap has never been capped off at South San for the kids who really put the work in and work hard, and and it takes a lot. I mean, it takes a lot to. Both parents is a huge advantage, right? And the cycles, the situations, but I've always respected that for the folks who've chosen to send their kids to South San when they could have all the names you're throwing off. They could have sent them to La Salle or something.
That would have been good company, but it was closed by then.
No.
But they were the kids were great. It didn't matter who was there. I treated them all the same.
Right.
I didn't favor anybody. If you need something, then I would be after you, to get your grades up or whatever. You're missing something. And I was never questioned by any of the executives or the leaders of the district, because I had their kids,
right.
And it was a privilege for me to teach people like Neffy and the superintendent's kid. To me, they were equal.
Right. Whenever you graduated from high school, what was your experience like going to college? What was that transition?
Well, I went to SAC first for the first 2 years. And when I was at SAC, that's when I committed to journalism.
Really? I didn't know.
And I started writing for the SAC Ranger. I still have all my stories.
That was the paper in the press
paper,
in there?
The college paper. And so I was on there on the staff, and they would send me to cover stories all over the city. And I loved it, man. I loved it. And I would write stories about SAC. And, one time they sent me UTSA, the medical school had just opened up, that whole area, and Medical Drive. And I did a story on the methadone program that was being developed to help drug addicts get off of heroin. And so they started writing about methadone. So my publisher at the school, my teacher, sent me to UTSA. He goes, I want you to go down there and interview Dr. whatever. He knows about the methadone program. So I went down there. I don't even know how I got there because, I didn't have a car.
Yeah.
So I went down to the complex, to the compound, whatever you want to call it. And I interviewed the doctor and this and that. And I wrote my story, came back. Well, Channel 41 read the story. That you never know who's going to read your stuff.
The Univision?
Yeah, Univision. And the guy, the Nicholas, I forgot what his name was. The owner, he called me up and said, I want you to come on our show and talk about, the story you wrote. I said, well, okay. I was just about 18 years old. Well, there I am on television. That was my first TV experience. And they're asking me all these questions. And I'm telling them about what
do you still have a copy of that clip?
Yeah, I still have this copy of the story.
You didn't send that to me.
The story?
Yeah, story or the clip too? Or do you have the,
the visual. Yeah, I don't know what they did
where
with
that's
that.
at?
Yeah, back in those days.
Yeah, I mean, it's what, 1970?
Yeah, well, no, it was, I was already, I'm sorry, you're right. It was about 72 when I was on staff. Luckily, I kept all my stories.
That's awesome.
When I was reporting there. And so then the teacher, Miss Kernat and Mr. Daughtry, they were the journalism teachers. I think that, they saw something in me and that I probably didn't even recognize myself. That I was having fun and writing, and, And she said, she goes, congratulations, you got a scholarship to UT. It's to pursue.
Yeah,
what you want to do.
That's awesome.
I said, what?
Because UTSA had just been created in 69, right? It was a baby school. So then to go to UT.
Yeah, I didn't know
Austin.
where I was going to go. I mean, I knew UT was a big dog. And but I didn't know where I was going to go after SAC. What am I going to do? When you're that age, you're not thinking that long further ahead. Right. But anyway, so I told my mom one day after I graduated from SAC. She goes, Mom, I'm going to Austin. I'm going to go to UT. What? This news to me, boy. She goes, how are you going to get there? I said, well, you can either give me a ride or I'll just catch a Greyhound, but I got to go. I got a scholarship. What am I going to do? Turn it down? And I was the only one in the family, to have gone to UT in Austin. And so I went. I remember my mom and my older brother dropped me off at the place, the dorm where I was going to stay. It was called the Paso House. And it was only for guys from all over
Paso House.
From all over the world. China, Germany. And so I went there. I stayed there for 2 years. And then I transferred to other apartments closer to downtown, to the Strip and all that. After I got, better at it. But my first year there was like, but I'll tell you one thing, the brothers, the Christian brothers gave me a good education. Because what I learned there served me the first two foundation to graduate from UT.
Wow.
I knew how to write papers. I knew, what
you
they
were
wanted.
ready.
Yeah, I was ready. And of course I love writing. So I never missed a class when it came to my literature classes. I remember one day it was raining so bad and I went to take my test with a professor who was teaching Shakespeare, right? My Shakespeare professor. When I got to his building, I was just drenched. I had to go to the restroom with those towels. They never do a good job anyway. But anyway, I walked in and he saw the kids that came in, the ones that were all wet. And he goes, you guys are going to get so many extra points for showing up for the test. So I took the test. In those days, you had to write compositions on those little blue books. And so I did that part and went back home and I got an A in the class.
Wow.
In spite of all the rain that tried to keep me away.
Yeah. Do you remember your graduation? Did everybody go up? Or
are you kidding? There were like, I don't know how many thousands of people from each school, from each school.
Each college.
Yeah, each college. And I still have the printout that they gave me. I'm in the humanities.
What was the name of your college?
The humanities department.
Yeah.
Because I started out in journalism and I was doing that. And then I said, wow, it's getting a little old. And then I said, well, I'll go to marketing. I'll try marketing because I heard the guy from marketing was from New York. He worked in all these fancy New York what do you call it? PR
Businesses,
places,
PRs.
marketing places. And so I took a class with him, and I liked it for a while. You know, the thing is that I had to come up with art. You know, I think that's where the influence of art came into my life, and how to write and make ads. So I would make ads, and that was part of your grade. You know, do an ad for a campaign for whatever company, selling diapers or whatever. And so I did that. And then I finally became disillusioned with it. He goes, "Why am I writing for these people creatively when I don't really believe in these products?" You know,
Right.
that social thing in me started coming out.
Right.
And so I said, well, I'm going to try education. So I signed up for education classes. And some of them were okay. The one that I loved the most was the one that I had actual internship. I did an internship at Martin Middle School in Austin.
Martin.
On the east side. It's where all the Chicanitos
Yeah,
were.
Del Valle ISD, or was it Austin ISD?
No, it was
Still
Austin ISD,
okay.
yeah. And so I went, by then I had a little car that my mom gave me, a Corvair. Can you believe a 61 Corvair?
61 Corvair.
The one that had the engine in the back.
Nice.
And the trunk in the front. They were so easy to work on those cars. Anyway, so I got there and I started taking, I saw how the teachers were engaging with the students. And these were Mexican-American kids. It was Martin Middle School. And I'll never forget, you know, I was like in awe of the teachers. None of the kids looked like they were bored or like they were disrespectful. They were all contributing, working on whatever project the English teacher had assigned, and they would all contribute. I said, now that's a classroom. I'd never seen a classroom like that.
Taught that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From my experience anyway. I'm not saying nobody ever did that. So don't get me wrong, you know. But I said, wow, and the kids are responding. That really got to me. It opened up some eyes on me. And anyway, I kept going back, and I graduated and, you know, finished my degree in English, journalism, and education. And so when I got back home, right away, you got to look for a job. You can't, you know.
Was it all paid for, or you had to pull out some loans?
Yeah. My first loan that I took out to finish off was $30 a month. Can you believe it?
Wow.
Compared to that.
Worth it.
Nowadays.
Yeah.
And I also had a job on campus, so I got a job.
Oh, okay. You had work study?
Yeah.
Okay.
To help me pay for at the LBJ library that they had just made.
Brand new?
Brand new.
Yeah.
So I was working with the finance department, and I would go there on certain days after school and stay there till I was done. Then I walked all the way back to my dorm. I did a lot of walking at UT, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, so did I.
Sometimes there were, There was, I only had like certain amount of minutes to get from one building to the next, and some of them were far away.
Spread out pretty.
And so, you know, I was like, wow.
You didn't want to work for the paper on the
I didn't, because I was already starting to get burned out. I already had lived a reporter's life.
Yeah,
you
you'd
gotta
already
be on call,
done
and
that.
you know,
Yeah.
like if they want to send you.
Plus your school.
Yeah, and then transportation. You know, when I first got there, it was on the buses or walking.
Right.
And
was that your first car ever?
The Corvair, yes.
Corvair.
Yep. It was my first car ever. Only because my mom bought a new car. And I inherited hers, and my brother had his own wheels, so
nice.
And he was already at Southwest, so there was nobody at home except
where did he go to school?
Southwest.
Sorry, where he went to teach at?
Oh, at South San.
He went straight to South San?
Yeah, he was at South San from the beginning till the end. And and so so he was already gone, and my younger brother was the athlete of the family. He was running races and track team and basketball, and I'd come into town just to go see my little brother play. And he graduated from Central, and then he went to SAC for a while, but then he got a job with the fire department. I said, man, that was great. The benefits were like awesome. You know, free care, health care, and all that.
Right.
Things I never had as a teacher. But
yeah.
Anyway, so you know, it was an experience at UT. I still have all my papers that I wrote for all my classes, with all the grades on there, comments from the professors.
How do you organize all the stuff you have?
I just threw it all in a box when I came home. You know, later on I divvied it up. You know,
filing cabinets or
no, they're just still in boxes and folders. And
I have a filing cabinet system with all my classes, and I was determined to save it because I was like, this is I guess at the time my tuition for all the years was $40,000. It was a $40,000 education.
There you go.
Right, but I mean, if you have to add the cost of living, I mean, $100,000. I mean,
easy.
I was like, I gotta save. This is what I got from college. This is what I'm taking with me. Because I could only remember so much, and do I ever use it or open it back up? Hardly ever. Right, but
I still have mine.
It's a matter of principle.
Yeah, it is. Besides that, all the hard work I put into it, I said, I can't throw this away.
Right.
I put in a lot of work at UT to get my to get through English, I was writing 4 or 5 papers at a time.
Wow.
And reading books that were, assigned from the professor. And then you would have to meet with a professor if, he would discuss your grades and what he thought, was happening, whatever. So I had to meet with him, and that was a trip. One of my professors was a friend of of Jorge Luis Borges, the famous Argentinian poet.
Wow.
I said, oh my God, this guy knows
him.
Yeah. He hung around with him, and the man was a genius. I mean,
do you still keep in touch with any of your professors or teachers? Or anybody?
Some of them are probably most of them are probably
that's
gone.
true. Or what about friends? Did you meet any
No,
good?
everybody went. After a certain year, people that were started with you, they
well, it was so hard in those times to stay connected.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have any cell phones. You had the house phone of their parents, probably, right?
Right. Or if they could afford it.
Yeah, if they had it at the time.
I had 2 friends that went with me to UT from SAC, Charles Smith, and I forgot the other guy's name, man. I wish I remember. But the second guy was a guy that was a DJ on SAC radio. He was getting his degree in what do you call it, radio and TV. And so he went to UT, and I hung around with him for a while, and with Charles or Chuck. He would come pick me up all the way to the west side from, I think he went to Lee or somewhere in those days. He would come pick me up, and we would drive to Austin once in a while. And then one year I told him, hey, Chuck, Charles, what are you going to do? I mean, he was a philosophy major. And then he goes, oh, I'm dropping out. I said, what? He goes, why are you dropping out? He goes, I'm going to be a mule runner over there at the Rocky Canyon. What is it?
A mule runner?
Or to do like a tour guide.
Okay.
And they would, with horses and pack of mules. And that's
the
what
Rocky Mountains?
Yeah, Rocky Mountains. There you go. And that's the last time I saw him. I never saw him again.
Never again.
Ever again.
He's still up there giving tours.
And he was with me and the ranger, the SAC ranger. He was going for journalism. But I said, man, how do you guys do it? I never followed through on after that. And I wouldn't even know what he looked like now. But Paul Smith was the other guy, the one that was in radio and TV. He was a Navy guy.
Not Paul Simon.
No. I wish. And he had that radio voice that I loved, right? And so, I hung around with him.
Did he always have that voice? Or it turns on?
I know he had it when I was at SAC.
Okay.
Because I would hear him on the radio. I would listen to his show. And, I don't know what he did at UT if he continued pursuing the radio TV. But everybody switched. You start off in one field, and then you end up in something else.
Right.
So I just never, I stayed with mine because I didn't know what else I wanted to do. And plus, I didn't have the money and the finances to continue. To just hang around us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was
come back home and start working.
Yeah, exactly. It was a great place to meet people and to have fun and to get an education.
Well, it's crazy because it was so different then, right? I'm talking. This is a height of the late of the hippie movement, peak, and then
Woodstock and all.
Yeah,
that.
Woodstock, right? I mean, all that, and then from when I got there in 2010. I mean, it had already been developed. But even now, going back in 26, I'm like, man, it's nothing like when I was even here. All these buildings up. And
are you kidding me?
East, there's hardly even a affordable place to live East Austin now.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, then it was like, you get a room for $400 or $300. I mean,
and hang in there for a whole year.
Now it's like, geez.
And the people were so nice. Everybody that I remember that, every place I stayed, they were all nice. They knew you were a student and you had money coming in, but it wasn't always on time. So you had to pay your rent. They wouldn't penalize you for that.
That's good.
But I had some good places, and it was something else. I remember when I went there the first time. It was I think it was 18th Street. Because Austin was famous for having numbers.
Yeah, it was 15th.
Yeah.
It was Martin Luther King, and 18th was just before campus.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, before it was MLK, it was 15th
Street. Yeah.
So I stayed off. That's where I lived. I was living off of 15th Street.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Until later on, but after I went back, it was already MLK.
Yeah, it was 15th. It merges in the MLK terms. Yeah.
And I tell my wife once in a while, man, let's go to Austin. I feel like walking the campus again.
You get an exercise out of that.
Going to Parlin Hall, where I spent all my time in the English classes and the journalism department and the education department. I don't know how I got through there, but that a lot was happening in Austin in those days. It was people power, you know what I mean? the hippies and the concerts and people singing on the street corners.
Live music, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It was the events that were taking place in that era that defined how Austin was forever known.
Keep Austin weird.
Yeah.
Armadillo headquarters, Barton Springs,
Mm-hmm.
Hippie Hollow.
Hippie Hollow, yeah. I never got a chance to visit that.
It was crazy. They were all crazy, everybody.
What's the other one? The record record store.
Oh man, they were all over the place.
Yeah. I can't remember the name, but yeah.
Those head shops everywhere. And,
head shops.
You know, you just experience it, you know. You can question it all you want, but if you're not experiencing it,
right,
you're missing out on life. But anyway, it was a great experience for me. Young Chicanito from the hood.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was an eye opener because having come up the way I did, I was really. I keep telling my wife once in a while, you know, I was a good boy. I had a Catholic education.
Yeah.
I served mass, and my grandmother wanted me to be a priest. And so, you know, for a while, I would think of myself as a priest, being a missionary in China and this and that, you know, but it didn't work out that way. But
yeah, let's shift gears a little bit.
Sure.
Favorite song of all time?
That's a good one. Man, there have been so many influential songs. I know I use a lot of jazz to help me write. It puts me in that frame.
Mm-hmm.
One song, I have to admit, this song by Carlos Santana, it's called Song of the Wind. It's a beautiful, I think that's, from what I've learned, that's the last song that Santana and his original band did.
Mm-hmm.
The band was disbanded right after they
that.
recorded that song. It's a beautiful song. It's on the Caravanserai album or CD, and it's called Song of the Wind. Listen to that song one time. If that doesn't lift up your spirits, because that's what Santana does.
Mm-hmm.
He'll lift you up.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like that guy so much. You know, his playing is a gift.
Mm-hmm.
I've been listening to a song right now called "Make Somebody Happy" by Santana. I was listening to that when I got to your place.
Over here.
That is a major song for me. Those two songs are major.
Okay.
But
favorite artist
from
a musician standpoint?
Well, it would probably have to be Santana.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I've always been a lover of guitar playing. Still am.
Yeah. Favorite poet?
Favorite poet would have to be a guy that I came across years later after I graduated from UT. His name was John Berryman. He was one of my favorite poets. And Pablo Neruda. And, of course, Borges, the Argentinian poet. And Antonio Machado, I think, from Spain. Some of these were mainly Spanish-speaking poets. And a few American poems like E. Cummings. I like Cummings. I can't really say which one is my favorite of all time because I spent a lot of time with, and I have their books, so too many books as it is.
Right. Well, we go through seasons. Yeah. And in those seasons, they
and Mary Oliver. I didn't want to leave out female poets. Mary Oliver, Sylvia Plath. Some of these people are no longer with us, but they were mentors of a sort for me. You know, coming up through developing my own writing style and stuff. So,
right.
And then of course Jimmy Baca, because he was closer to my generation, and he wrote in the vein that I was discovering for myself. You know, bringing Spanish and English and mixing both languages, which I've kind of gotten away from. You know, because you also want to grow as a poet.
Right.
You don't want to write the same tortilla poem for the rest of your life. You know.
Yeah. Favorite book?
Oh my God. Well, the Bible for sure. I read that as a kid. The Psalms, the Proverbs, Ecclesiastes.
You read the whole thing?
Pretty much, yeah. The prophets, the book of I just finished reading the book of Revelation for like the upteenth time. That's a hard book. But anyway, that and of course my poetry books, Neruda, Borges, Berryman. They're all gone by now. But contemporary poets right now, one of my favorites is Alex Salinas. I think I recommended him to you. And there's some other people, but they're not really. I don't really have their books because, a lot of them write closer to the way I write. Not all of them do exactly the same thing, but so I I'm not drawn to them.
Right.
I'm drawn to somebody who's doing something a little bit different.
Add a little spice. Yeah.
And besides, we become friends, so you meet a lot of people in this area of cultural expression, and I've met so many artists, actual artists that do art, sculptors. I like those people because they do things with their hands, and I wish I could do that too.
Right.
And I've had a guy, his name is James Hendricks. I think he's been Artist of the Year for 3 or 4 times already in his career. And he does sculptures. He works with iron. He did an iron fence for me at my house.
Really?
And he took lines from one of my poems, and he put it on the fence.
That's awesome.
And so, I mean, it's
beautiful.
He came and installed it for me, and we're good friends now. So, he's one of these people, humble. He'll give you the shirt off his back if you asked him to. And so, I mean, that's the kind of people that I like to meet.
Right.
They're not so full of themselves and egos and look at me, I'm the only one. These are people that will call you up and, hey, invite you, you know.
Right.
George Prado is another musician here in town. I called him up one time. He's a famous jazz bassist. I don't know if you've ever seen George Prado. I say, hey, George, do you do any community work? He goes, yeah, man, what do you need? Can you come play for one of my events? I'll be there, man. You know,
nice. Yeah, just like that.
So I try to give him money. I try to dig up funds from the city or from our group if we raise any money and pass it on to them. Because I don't want them to think that, I'm just using them.
Right. No, they're putting their time in and putting a performance.
And they wouldn't take the money anyway, but, hey, I insist. Mario, too, the musician that I have.
Yeah, he's come to a few of our events.
Yeah, and he's coming to the next 2 that we're having.
That's awesome.
And so, that always inspires me because they're willing to give. And, if I can be that way, I try to be, unless I can't do it.
Right. Favorite poem?
Oh, man. Jeez. Probably the one from Langston Hughes, Life Ain't Been No Crystal Stairs. Because that reached me at a moment where
you needed it.
I was growing up and, I was starting to value family and my mom, their efforts, And when I read that poem at the end, I still climbing, honey. I still climbing. Life for me ain't been no crystal stair. I said, oh, God.
Yeah.
I mean, plus I have other favorites, but that was a moment for me that probably defined who I was going to be, and I didn't even know it. There's been other poems that I like, but none of them have made an impact as much as that, except music. Music does have an impact on me. Well, that's my next. I like to write. A lot of these poems in here were written from music. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Lyrics,
yeah. Same with me. All my songs are poems at first, and I just added the music later.
Exactly. But I try not to rhyme too much. I do use a lot of internal rhyme in my book, in my poems. But now it's become just a matter of what do you call it? That's the way I've disciplined myself to do. To write graphically, to write poetically, to write imagery, so that people can connect, and they can see something. Maybe not totally their experience, but. They can connect, and that's what we're all about, right?
Right.
Making connections and lifting people up, and
Song that makes you cry.
Oh, song that makes me cry. Jeez. Probably the Song of the Wind did that the first time I heard it. Yeah.
Poem that makes you cry.
Probably my own that I haven't written well. How can I write that? I don't know. I don't think I've ever read. Well, maybe Mary Oliver. She's a fantastic. She passed away recently, but she wrote some fantastic poems about nature, about people. Interactions. She was a person that probably kept more to herself and got a lot out of nature, being out in nature, which I think I need that too sometimes. Value our surroundings, and she writes in a different vein, but it all makes sense, and it all comes back to the individual and where you're at and how you treat others, and it's not sentimental stuff. It's really real life experiences, heartfelt, and that sometimes touches me like that and might make me a little watery eyed, but that's about it. I mean,
What is your purpose in life?
To connect, to make connections with people, to dialogue with people, converse with them instead of yelling. I think I learned that quickly at my experiences in school. From the moment I got in the classroom, I didn't know what I was going to say to the kids, to tell you the truth. I don't think any teacher ever knows unless you've been there for 100 years. And it just comes out of you naturally. It finally did that to me later on when I was at Zamora. I didn't have to struggle as much anymore because it was all in here and all in here. And I could just whip out lessons, and if somebody needed a reteach, I could redirect a level, get them to be successful and help them. Connections and talking to each other, and So my purpose is probably communication between building bridges between people, and to look at life that way, because we seem to have lost a lot of that in these times. People don't talk to each other anymore. They curse at each other, they insult each other, they put each other down, and I don't see how that's getting anywhere and anybody getting anywhere. So that's why I like poetry, because poetry asks you to question yourself. And if it's a good poem, you'll begin to see things that you didn't see before, and make a difference in your life. Words are powerful. I believe that with all my heart. Words can be death-giving and they can be life-giving. So I choose life.
Nice.
And that's in Proverbs, I think. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. And man, those are good things to think about, especially when you grow up without a father figure who perhaps if your father gives you advice, you're going to listen. I didn't have that. I had to search it out, dig it out. So that's why I've always been curious about life. And I encourage young people to always be curious and examine and find out for yourself,
Right.
if it's the truth or not, but at least you find out. Don't take things for granted all the time. Not even from me or from anybody, but, dig around in the dirt for a while, you'll get some answers.
Yeah.
And it may not be pleasant at the beginning, but you begin to develop that in you. And you can see how you can help other people too,
Yes.
Based on your experiences and what you have to say about it. So, yeah, that's about
What you think your purpose is.
been my purpose, yeah. But
Do you believe in God?
I actually do. I don't want to mention all the specifics, but I had 2 major surgeries. One in 2017, where I probably could have died, and one recently that I think you know about. And that one was also, the doctor says, if you had stayed away, or if you hadn't gotten this operation, you probably would have died. So I believe God, Christ, had drawn me for a purpose out of situations, and I actually believe he miraculously made a way for me to come out of those hospitals. Yeah, I'm bruised, I'm wounded, I'm broken, but I still believe in God. I love God. My faith has never been stronger. I'm trying to make a recommitment. I'm a Catholic by birth, but I also believe in that other people have also some light. You know what I mean? If we're Christians, we're all carrying a light in us, and that light refuses to go out. It's in there. God put it in there for a reason. And I think that's why, I think there's a verse, one of the favorite verses in the Bible, that says God looks after the orphan, the fatherless, and is an advocate for the widow. And I said, there's my whole family right there. My advocate. We didn't have a father.
Yeah, it's your mom.
God, yeah. But I think God was overseeing things in our family. They could have gone worse. I mean, we could have made the wrong decisions. But we had good upbringing, you know what I mean? A good Catholic foundation. And of course, I served Mass and this and that, and studied my doctrine. And then later on, I broke away from the Catholic Church. And not because I didn't like it, but just because I was still searching for something else. And I found it in just on my own, in my own Catholic Bible. And I cried out to God, and he heard me. I'm not kidding you. He brought me out of some horrible situations. I don't want to paint this false picture of me being this miracle worker in the classroom and all that. Everything was a struggle for me. It was hard. And if it hadn't been for God's help, I don't think I would have been as successful. I probably wouldn't have, as I turned out to be. And I don't take pride in any of that. I give God the glory for that. So I'm a big believer in miracles, and I think God still works in our world. We just don't notice it, or we don't take time to do that.
Right.
So yeah, I made a recommitment, and I pray every night, read my word, and try to write better poetry.
Yeah.
And see how that goes, right? So I mean, that's the cards I've been dealt. So I'm here for a reason still.
Well, do you have a parable that I know we go through seasons,
Right?
And sometimes some reach out to you at different points in your life, and is there a parable that really speaks to you right now?
There's 2. One of them was I learned in junior high. It was the parable of the talents. I think it's in Matthew, and then the other one was obviously the prodigal son, because I fell into that trap. I was the prodigal son.
Were you?
Yeah, I was. I mean, I grew up in a very strict environment. My grandmother was very strict, and I left home when I was 18, and I never came back. Yeah, I came back to visit, attend family functions, but I was on my own. and making my own money. And I mean, I think that's what my father would have wanted. You know, I didn't want to just be dependent on my mom. I know
Right.
my mom struggled. I didn't want to add to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I figured the best thing was to, you know, start managing my own life.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell into some areas where, you know, I was in the dark for a long time. And this was all this happened, before all this,
Mm-hmm.
until I reconnected back with my gift, because that I found that in the Bible, your gift will make a way for you. And when I started listening to that voice, I said, you know what? This is my gift, and it's making a way for me.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I going to waste it or abuse it? And then the other, the parable that I love a lot was when I was in junior high, and we read the parable of the talents, where Jesus gives each, or the
master and the slave.
master, right, gives each one so many talents. To one he gave 1, to another he gave 5, to another 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then he shows up, and he was a tough master, right? And they all had produced something for him, and he was, you know, appreciative and made them more responsible,
Mm-hmm.
and gave them more responsibilities. And then the guy that just had 1 and he buried it, he gave it back to the master. He goes, well, I knew you were a rough guy, and you know, you're a tough master, so here I have the one you gave me, and here it is. That's the one that the master threw out. And I always used to think of the word talent, because in those days, you know, you just hear it, and you know what talent is, you know, skill. So I thought the parable was about skills,
Right.
using what you know and, you know, putting it to work. And then later on, as I studied more, the talent had to do with money,
The currency.
the currency of the time. I said, wow, Christ is telling us 2 things here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your
Double
money.
meaning.
Yeah, your money. That's deep, man.
Yeah.
And you know, I always took it as talent, but then when it expanded it when I heard it was money too. And so I said, wow. And I've always been there's always been a fear, an awe in every time I read that parable, because there are consequences there. We just don't think about that. You know?
Right.
Where the guy gets thrown out in outer
He
darkness and
calls
there's
them
gnashing of teeth.
lazy, worthless.
Yeah, exactly.
Fool. I mean,
You don't want your boss to say that.
yeah.
And so, so I've always tried to be a bit responsible after that, you know.
I love that one.
But I love those 2 parables. I mean, Christ had so many.
Well,
He was a poet, you know. Jesus was a poet.
absolutely.
We just don't give him credit. But anyway, you just got to live yourself, you know, be yourself and ease into yourself. That's what the trouble I had, easing into myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as a teacher, as a son and all that. I could have been a better son. I should have been a better son, better brother and stuff like that. But, you know, you when you're 18 and you're looking to branch out on your own, you know, you're going to make a lot of mistakes.
Mm-hmm. You're going to learn.
And you're going to learn the hard way, one way or the other. But
Mm-hmm.
there's another parable that I like, and I'm not sure what this one, the title, if there's even a title. But the master, the father had 2 sons or 2 servants. And he told one, go do this and go do that. And the guy said, yeah, I'll do it. Thank you very much. You know. And then he told the other servant, and he said, no, I'm not going to do it. And he did, you know. And so the master came, and it was time to give an account. And he asked the one that, how come you didn't go? He goes, well, I wanted to, but then he just changed his mind. Didn't go do what he was asked. And then the other guy who said, no, I'm not going to do it. He changed his mind and went. So I said, man, there's hope. That could be me. I said no, but then I said yes, and then I didn't do it.
Well, what matters is your actions,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Ultimately, you say what.
So God understands what we go through. We just don't give him that credit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, after all, he is the creator, I think. Anyway.
Yeah.
He put a little bit of his light in us, even though we may not deserve it. But I think that's what intuition and conscience, that acts as our range, you know, to guide us. And so, yeah, that's an interesting question.
If you were to die today and you could make one phone call, who's the person you'd call?
Yeah, probably my wife, I guess. But
what would you tell her?
I don't know. That's a good question. Never thought of that. So now you're going to get me thinking about that. I'm sure I'll leave her some kind of message. Thank you for all the years. I don't know. For sure, some of that. Some love and well wishes. But yeah, she's been there with everything that I did. She's been there with me through the thick and the thin.
How many years?
Oh, I think we hit 40 something already.
Wow.
Yeah, we were married in 81. So,
How did y'all meet?
it's another difficult question. We met at a college outside of, I was already a teacher. She was still going to college. So, yeah, she reminds me of that once in a while. Yeah. How did I end up with you? I don't know. Lucky for me.
In San Antonio?
Yeah. I think it was a godsend, one of those. God sends you a gift.
We all marry up.
Ever since then, I married up for sure. Not down. I've had bad relationships coming up throughout the years, but, that one was good.
Yeah.
That one's been good.
She gave you 6 beautiful kids.
Well, that's for sure. Yeah. I can't convince her anymore. Just one boy.
She's learned after 6.
So I want to go fishing with a son, do things that I couldn't do, because I didn't have that. But I miss my father once in a while. I think of the things father and son stuff we could have enjoyed: hunting, fishing, having coffee or something, breakfast, or taking them out. And same thing with my mom. I wish I had both of them. I would parade them up and down nowadays.
Yeah. When did your mom pass?
She passed in 78. She was only 53 years old. So
wow, she died young too.
I was orphaned. Yeah, my dad at 25 and my mom lasted 25 more years. Pretty much.
Jeez.
And then my grandmother died. My grandmother outlasted my mom and my
Both?
dad. Yep. And her husband, my grandfather.
How
funny,
old was
her
she?
husband, my grandfather Roberto Mesa, is buried in Laredo right next to my dad. I don't know why he could have been at Fort Sam, But every year people, the veterans go out there and put flags on my dad's grave. And, I'm thankful for that. I wish I could go see him more often. I'd go to his grave and,
Roberto is your dad's name? He named after
my grandfather was Roberto.
So your brother was named after your grandpa?
Yeah. And my dad's name was Leon.
Leon?
Yep.
That's a good name.
Leon of the family. Yeah, the girls love that
that's
name.
a good name.
All my daughters, because they love that band, Sons of Leon.
Oh, yeah, Sons of Leon. Yeah.
And they call themselves Daughters of Leon. So, he would have liked that. And so my dad's buried next to his father-in-law. Ain't that weird?
Yeah. That's,
and my mom's buried here at San Fernando. So they've been apart for so long.
So right here at San Fernando?
Yeah, number 2. Yeah, number 2. The one
by
by
Las Palmas. Yeah.
So they've been separated forever, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for the time
they're together now.
Yeah. I pray to God for that. But anyway, so yeah. And my brother and I were talking about the other day that we've almost lost just about everybody that was older. All the generation that went to war, they're all gone. All my uncles that served in the Korean War, the World War II. They're all gone. Navy, Army, Navy, Marines, whatever. They all served in the military. I wrote a poem for them. It's in here. It's called Memorial Day Memory. And,
yeah,
that's in the book. It's part of America, man.
Yeah.
So.
Not to go back to the morbid stuff, but if you had a chance to call your daughters, what would you tell them?
If I had a chance before I died?
Before you died.
Oh, my God. I love you. I would say that for sure. Thank you for making my life better. For making me proud to be a dad. The experience of being a father. There's nothing like it, whether it's a son or a daughter. You just want them to be happy and to reach their potential and use their gifts, because each of them has gifts. I brought my girls up with that in mind. You all have been given gifts. Don't waste them. Find out what it is, and that's what you're called to do. Don't get stuck in something that you're not even interested in. It's got to be something you have a passion for.
Right.
And that's going to make you successful. And if you don't have that, then find out a way to get there. So I would probably tell them something along those lines. Thank you for letting me be your father. It's been a privilege. Find your gifts, work it out. It's not going to be easy. Nothing in life ever is. And, make the best of it. Be happy, smile, laugh, enjoy your moments, because that's all we get.
Right.
And so, yeah, I that was one of my things, to be a better husband, be a better father, be a better son, a better person overall, to help people, That's because people helped me. I remember my dad's mother, they lived off of Frio Street downtown before all that was there, before the expressway. They had a big German house that was built in it. The ceilings were huge. They don't make houses like that anymore. How they ended up there, I'll never know because I was too young to know. But my dad's mother, her name was Inés Flores. And whenever my mom took us over there, she would just fill us with hugs. She would come directly from the kitchen, her hands maybe full of masa or whatever, and hug you and leave prints. And she was always so loving, so humble. I never heard any of them ever complain on my dad's side. I'm not saying they didn't, but every time we went over there, it was all for us. They would cook for us. Todo cariño, todo amor. Whereas in my house, with my grandmother, my mother's mother, she was a tough. She disciplinarian. You're gonna do it the way I do it. I'm gonna show you. That's it.
So your dad's mom was already living here, or
yeah, they were living here in San Antonio, but they had already moved after my father's death. They all moved over here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and luckily they found housing back in those days.
Did they find work? Where did they find work?
Well, my mom worked. Well, I told you about my mom. My aunt was a nurse. My dad's sister. Some of them I didn't know. One of my uncles was a cook down in San Diego, Texas. My uncle Chuy, Jesus, he was in the military, in the army. So I think he retired from all that. I don't know if he had I think he had a civil service job too. And he married an Okie from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And they would take us once in a while down to Oklahoma to be on the farm. My mom would send them, llévatelos.
Yeah.
And well, me especially, because I was the necio one, the curious one. And what else? Oh, and then my tío Rosalio, he went to Trinity and got a degree from Trinity University.
Wow.
He was also in the army. He was wounded in France. And according to the story, my uncle Chuy went looking for his brother, and he found him in a hospital in France. He had something had exploded, and he had shrapnel on his head, which he had to deal with the rest of his life. How he got through the university, I don't know.
Was that during Korean War?
No,
or
that was World War II. Yeah,
wow.
They came back a little fractured, but they all made it back. My Uncle Robert was in Korea. Every time I would ask him, Tío, did you kill any Koreans? He didn't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bad experiences over there. And everybody else, I had an uncle in the Navy. I had an uncle in the Air Force. One of my uncles was a paratrooper. My tío Carlos. And everybody served. Everybody on my block growing up served in the military. So we were surrounded by military people, Yeah. And of course, my mom worked at the base. And my tia, Andrea, she grew up. She had a good job at the base too, security clearance and all that. Every year she would buy a new car. We're like, oh my God. But, she was just our aunt. She lived with us for a while until she got married. But sometimes she would take us to school, to high school in her car. All the guys were, hey, your aunt drives that car? A pink 57 Chevy. How's that?
Really?
The one with a fin? Yeah, the one with the fins.
The step side?
I don't even know nowadays what they're called, but it was an original 57 Chevy.
Wow.
Pink. And then she sold it and got a Cougar. I'd never even seen a Cougar before.
Oh, 57. No, it's older.
This
like
one
an
was
Apache.
a Cougar. I don't think they make Cougars anymore.
Cougars.
Yeah, you might look up Cougars in the 70s, but oh my God. The lights in the back, when you'd step on the light, they would go.
Wow, that's
as
cool.
you're stopping.
Yeah.
Hey.
That was high tech right there.
Back in those days, yeah.
That was fancy pants.
Yep. And my poor mom driving the old Corvair. She finally bought a Chevy Chevelle. Yeah, a 60, 70 something.
Okay.
And she gave me the other one.
She bought a big one.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. And then she lent it. My brother.
The 2-door or 4-door?
The Chevelle was a 4-door, I think. She lent it to one of my youngest brother's friends who they own Fernandez Produce. You know where the farmer's market is? His family ran so they had money. And he borrowed my mom's car. I don't know why my brother Carlos let him borrow that car. The guy was in an accident. Totaled the car. My mom was so angry.
67, you said?
Yeah, 67 Chevelle.
It was a beautiful
car.
year.
Yeah. So she ended up buying with the money they gave her, whatever. He fixed it, but it wasn't the same anymore.
No.
And she sold it and got a Nova. Remember the
Nova?
Novas?
The smaller ones?
Yeah. She was driving a Nova at the end.
So she went a little bit smaller. I guess.
I think she was inspired by my aunt driving all those hot cars. But anyway, we would drive to Laredo certain times. On her first car was a Plymouth Buick.
Oh, Plymouth.
61. One of those huge tank.
Yeah, those things had a what do you call it? Like a pool table for.
Yeah, and they were like
Yeah.
1,000 pounds, man.
Heavy,
Tons.
yeah.
They were heavy cars. You couldn't dent those if you wanted to. Anyway, and she would drive us. It was a Standard too. My mom had to drive Standard. She would drive us to Laredo to go visit my other aunts, my relatives, and bring us back. And once in a while, my grandmother said, "Vamos a Laredo."
Yeah.
On a Friday and come back Sunday.
No,
It
that's
was always
awesome.
good to see people, But
Good
yeah,
stories.
it was good. Yeah, I learned a lot from them, and traveling with mother.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a poem about her too. It's called An American Ride. It's in another manuscript called The Fugitive Hours. That's about fans, family, and friends, and growing up. That one hasn't been published yet, so I'm working on that one. It's done, but it hasn't been picked up. So yeah, and of course my teaching book
Yeah.
that I brought just to show your fans out there.
Right on.
It's called A Light on the Other Side for now, because I wanted to make people think about a light on the other side. Which side are you talking about? Well, it could be both sides.
Yeah.
The kids taught me a lot, so they're a light to me, and I hope I did the same thing for them, so I could be a light to them. And
That's awesome.
that was it starts with my first teaching assignment all the way to the last time. It's just highlights of my career. I couldn't put everything in there because some
Right.
stuff doesn't really, a lot of it was just mundane, just regular, ordinary days.
It pops up.
But I
here.
picked the ones that really made an impression on both sides.
What's the greatest advice anybody's ever given you?
Oh my God. One of my first employers, he hired me. I was in the high school, and because I was good in Spanish, I won a Spanish award for the whole district. And guess what? The public school that I was at, they never once told me what I had won. If I had won a prize, they kept it because I never saw anything. That's one of the things I didn't like about public school. They were so big that you were just
Number.
a number. And of course, I always paid attention to my English and Spanish class, but the rest of the classes I thought were a waste of time. I'm sorry, but that was my experience.
Right.
No, other people had better ones, and they already knew I was coming from LaSalle, and they knew it was a college prep, so they didn't really accept me on their campus. They wouldn't even let me join their National Honor Society. I should have been on the National Honor Society because I wasn't there 4 years.
Yeah, that's so dumb.
I didn't understand that at all. So you see, my motivation went.
Right.
Except for those two classes because I enjoyed English and Spanish. But anyway, so I got hired because of that award. I guess there wasn't, but I had to get it on my own. And so I went and interviewed, and later on I started working, and he pulled me aside. He was a white man. His name was Mr. Crump. And he called me over, and he goes, Fernando, he goes, let me just tell you one thing. Because he saw me doing all kinds of things, but besides what I was hired to do, because I just, I'll tell you about that later. But so he said, he wasn't mad. He just said, don't ever get complacent in your life. And I hadn't figured out that word yet, So I went home and checked it out. Don't ever be satisfied with what you did one time, or what your experience was. Always shoot for higher things. I said that's a good plea, and that advice stayed with me forever. I'll never forget. He just used one word. Don't get complacent. Stir yourself up, man. After that, I started thinking about that. Stir yourself up. Whenever you feel useless or worthless, stir yourself up.
Right.
Look at some of the things you've done. Not to brag, it's just for you, at a moment for yourself.
Right.
Lift yourself up, because Lord knows there's enough in this world to depress you every day.
Right. No, absolutely.
So I would say complacent. And one little story perhaps I haven't shared, if you don't mind, because it kind of ties along those lines. One year when I was at Dwight, I forgot what year it was. It was late 90s probably. And I was done. The principal didn't want to give me a GT class. And so I said, I'm done. It's nothing against the kids or against anybody. It's just I feel burned
complacent.
out.
Yeah.
Like I'm, not getting any. There's got to be more. And so, I was packing up. It was the end of the year, the last few weeks where teachers are allowed to work in their rooms. It was on an in-service day. The kids weren't there. They were out. I think school was out. And so I was packing up everything. I hadn't even told my wife. I said, this is it. I'm done. This is my last year. I'm not going to come back. I don't know what I'm going to do, but don't get complacent. So I decided that was it. I hadn't even told my friends or the principal. Nobody knew. I don't know how I was going to do it, but I wasn't just going to show up anymore. And anyway, my contract was over for that year. So I was there packing up, and I had everything in boxes. And then I see a guy who was a tough kid, no doubt about it. The other teachers had problems. I'm not going to mention his name because out of respect, but he did something unique. And I saw him walking. You've seen Dwight, the way it is. You have classrooms that face Quintana, Quintana? Or South Cross?
South Cross.
And I see he was the tallest guy in the whole school. He was over 6 feet. But he was Prieto, he was dark complected, hippie-ish. And I saw him carrying two things. I don't know what they were. I just looked. I saw, what is he doing here? He was walking by. And I thought he would just keep walking, And then he got into the school. I think the doors were open facing that little church. And so he came in and he opened the door in my class and came in. And I said, whoa, Blank, what are you doing here? He goes, oh, I don't know. I just came. I came to give you this. And he gave me a rain stick. Those things that sound like water. He goes, I just want to thank you for helping me and being my teacher this year. He goes, I've never had a teacher like you. And thank you for letting me express myself, and I want you to have this rain stick. Because I let him do he did a project involving music, The Doors. And I gave him the book of lyrics by Jim Morrison. I gave it to him. I said, when you're done with the project, I want you to keep the book. He goes, so are you going to give me the book? I said, yeah, I want you to have it. He goes, you can't do that. I said, why not? He goes, I don't know. It just doesn't seem right. I said, well, anyway. I said, I want you to take it and you keep it. And, it's a memory of class and, and what you did, And he goes, the real reason I came, besides to give you this gift, and he pulls out a card from his wallet, right? I don't know what he's going to do, but he pulls it out. And I've been carrying this card ever since. I think it's in here somewhere. I don't know how I patch it up every once in a while, right? Because it's over, I don't know how many years, 100 years. Anyway, it was a little poem, and it was called Don't Quit.
Wow.
And he didn't know.
On that day where you were
I was
thinking
getting ready to leave. I was like, I didn't tell him anything. I didn't even tell him that was that was going to be my last hurrah. Anyway, I still have the poem. I think it's in here somewhere. And just as a reminder to me that one student felt that I had made a difference. Oh, here it is, in his life. And keep it behind my driver's license. I don't know where he got it.
Yeah.
But, he probably found it in a card or something, or at the mall or something.
And he gave this to you that day.
He walked in that day and gave it to me.
On a day he wasn't supposed to even be in school.
Well,
he come whenever. And
he just walked over on his own, and that was in his heart. And after he left, I broke down. And obviously I changed my mind because I came back after that.
Yeah.
But a student actually, thought enough about me to do that. And, I'll never forget him. I often wonder how he's doing in this man's world. You know what I mean? Yeah, how his life turned out. I hope he was successful. He was a big guy, and he gave all the other teachers, he gave them hell. But when he came to my class,
yeah,
just the nicest. Actually, that was really his nature. He was just shy and of humble origins. You know what I mean? But he thought of that. To me, that the what he did was more important. That he thought enough about somebody that it came out of him. Whereas he had been a terror to other people. So to me, I see that as a highlight of my career. All the other awards, they don't mean as much as that card that I carry in my wallet.
In your wallet.
Yeah, because that's actually attached to a face that I knew, and I thought he was worth something. I thought that about all my kids, but
right.
Especially the hardcore ones. Those are the ones I used to like reaching. The ones that sat in the back, and I would stand by them sometimes and say, "Hey, what do you think about this?" Sir, why are you asking me? Because you have a voice.
Yeah.
And you have something to say. You just don't want to say it.
Right.
But it inevitably all worked out.
No, that's a beautiful story.
It is,
And a
for me
beautiful
anyway.
poem. Yeah.
So,
At the right
he's
time.
in the manuscript too. I think there's 2 poems dedicated to him, and you might have read them.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
And I often want to ask people, have you ever heard of this kid? And when I meet kids from South San, I wonder what happened to him. I don't know if he went to high school and graduated. He was supposed to go to South San, and I don't know. But I wish the best for him.
Yeah.
There were so many kids that were troubled and they needed help, and I could just go on and on and on. I think there's a story in here about the little boy from Mexico who didn't have any social skills. His mother had died. His father was raising him on the border. He was selling chiclets to get by, to make money to get food. They came over here, and he would bring chiclets and what do you call it? Tanks. What do you call those drinks that have you can pour drinks in there? Sippy cups or something like that. And he would bring those and try to sell them to the teachers. I bought a couple of things from him just to help him out. And then he got in trouble because he wasn't supposed to be doing that.
He didn't have a permit.
He was an entrepreneur, just like you.
Yeah.
Entrepreneur. He was making money.
He was testing the boundaries.
People were afraid not to help him,
Right.
Teachers were anyway. And, he couldn't read, couldn't write. Not even in Spanish. He spoke Spanish, but he couldn't write it or read it. I said, man, what am I going to do with this young boy, man? And you try to help him as much as you can. And one day he just never came back. I never saw him again. I'm sure it got too hard over here, but,
Right.
I never met his father, but he would come every day for a while. Pobrecito.
Yeah.
And I hate to use that word.
Well, you just never know. And,
Yeah, I know.
and you know that the statistics are probably don't lean in the right spot,
Nope.
but
You have some good stories like Salvador's and some sad ones like that. And other worse ones that were sadder than that one. But I don't want to bring those up. Some of them are in here
yeah.
because they made an impact on
Yeah,
me.
well, don't give away all
No.
your books because you want somebody to come and follow it and read it when it comes
Yeah.
out.
Can I read the first poem?
Well, yeah, well, we got time for it. So
All right.
you read a handful of them,
Let
which
me
are
read,
in different books or whatever you have in mind.
The dedication is a quote by a writer that I liked back in those days in the 70s. His name was Alvin Toffler. And he said, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And I kind of made that my mantra, You have to constantly challenge yourself. I don't care how successful you are.
Right.
To learn stuff, and then if you have to relearn something, you got to do it. So anyway, that was the thing that inspired me when I read that book. I think that book's still available somewhere. Just if you want to read, it's called Alvin Toffler. Okay, so the first poem was the first teaching job I ever had at Truman Middle School, and it's called "In Case of Nuclear Attack." And I just put that nuclear little logo on there because it was all over the basement of the school that I was at my first year. So it's called "In Case of Nuclear Attack." At risk, economically disadvantaged, 99% Hispanic enrollment in one of the city's poorest areas to boot. Demographics pointed out facts. Stats clear as a blue sky in Texas. 6th grade scraggly middle schoolers and a first-year long-haired bespeckled English teacher made the endangered species list look desirable. What's my assignment, I asked. Teach him to read, the vice principal, Mr. Janey, said sarcastically, if you can. He looked at me like he had no doubts I would fail, no expectations I would last past the term. Where's my classroom? Grinning, he pointed downstairs at the yellow and black fallout shelter sign with 3 inverted triangles, blinking prophetically at me. In the old bomb shelter, next to the boiler room, he said. Built for a nuclear attack, the room had all the comforts of a coal jail cell, drab, bare. If not for the dim lights, it could double as a morgue. The desks, refugees of many unresolved academic wars, graffitied with the names of past skirmishes, Juan, Mario, Maria, Fidencio, Fabiola, Neto plus Annette, CS, Gonzafos, meaning no one better tag this or else. They all sat there at some time. A poem graced one rickety tattooed desk ready for the junk pile. And this is the poem that was engraved in there. A friend with weed is a friend indeed. A marijuana plant skillfully sketched in green, no doubt, an artistic collaboration from a long-departed artist. Street poetry needing no interpretation. Children accustomed to hard knocks, humiliated, held back, restrained, conditioned to second-hand third world conditions in a first-rate country. Where are the books, I asked. What books, he said with a wicked smile, and shut the door. Teach him to read.
Wow.
No
that's
books.
Good.
So that was my first job. Okay, one more. The first
As
day,
many as you want.
the first day and the next 181. Math, science, social studies, English, darlings of the American schoolroom, sacred cows beyond plebeian scope. Hands off, don't touch them texts. In middle school reading class, for a rookie, a hex, books, a luxury, friends, a scarcity. Ill prepared, I scrounged every nook and cranny, every crack and crevice for suitable materials. Anything with words to get my desperate hands on. Copied newspapers, articles, magazine stories, poems, primers, sports pages, shirts and pants smudged with purple mimeograph ink. Piles of sheets soon stood silent, witness to my fruitless steps. Sisyphus, which is a character from mythology, Sisyphus rolling his rock uphill. What did I know then? Fresh from the sheltered emerald lawns of university campus life. The mythic Elysian fields of my Odyssean journey. I showed up, got busy, felt so out of place, a race I could not win. Hope teetered at the school front door. Home 10 years away. So that was...
Wow.
And
There's a new movie on Odysseus coming out. Right?
oh yeah?
Yeah.
All right. This one's called Stand and Deliver after the movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a staticky radio signal, teacher training buzzed around my fuzzy head. I may as well have been standing on the moon. I had no delivery, no idea what to say to 30 middle schoolers waiting to get served. Beyond choppy, muffled lines coming in, low and distorted via a string tin can, I was unnerved, lost in an adolescent circus funhouse. I was beginning to think Mr. Janey was right. Their contorted faces, one huge question mark. Mine, an inverted exclamation point. I stammered, I stumbled. They fussed, I fumbled. Teaching, not my first. I thirsted to write, but hungered to eat. Survived college life thinner than a blade of wheat. Saw myself cranking out bestsellers, hobnobbing with the best, discussing our latest works. Here I was on display before gawking, mocking, prepubescent teens. A little less than half my age. Boys sporting traces of facial hair. Girls smartly dressed and coiffed. I stepped on the surface of Planet X. One backward step for teacher kind. Stood and delivered, God knows what. Said something right, and somehow got on with it. The bell rang, class dismissed. They shuffled out, shaking heads. The next batch rushed in, pumping fists. We got him. Okay, and this is the last one. This is a tribute to one of the teachers there. You're a lifesaver, baby. Sinking faster than the Titanic, drowning by Columbus Day, Mrs. G, the Title I bilingual teacher, threw lifelines my way. She modeled, she mentored, shared resources, suggestions. I bantered, stilted coughs, and blabbered nonsense. She knew a deer in headlights when she saw me. She schooled without falter, scolded when needed be. I swam in her shadow, teaching like live wrestling in the nude with a 20-foot python. You need posture, poise, patience. Don't smile till Christmas, she said. I grew a beard instead. So that's the first
Yeah, the
few
don't
poems.
smile one for Christmas.
Don't smile till Christmas. Okay, it's too late now. But anyway.
Yeah. You got any other ones in your other books you want to share? Or?
Yeah, I like
that
this
comes to
one
mind.
from the new book.
Mm-hmm.
This one's called. It's for a friend of mine who gifted me a painting, and the name of the painting was "I Always Cared." I have it over my bed, and it's a picture of Lady Liberty, the Statue of Liberty. It's all blue, cobalt blue, and she's holding a baby, an immigrant child, and she's nursing it. and behind her you can see the chains that have fallen from her, because the original Statue of Liberty had chains, in case you don't know. And it was supposed to be a tribute to black people and the end of slavery. So anyway, I wrote this poem because he just out of the blue said, I want you to have this painting. I said, wow, are you sure? Enshrined in iconic cobalt blue by Oscar Galvan, Lady Liberty, painted with a gentle hand and with all the care of a loving mother, cradles an immigrant child at her breast, mantling the copper-colored child with her cloak for warmth, bordered by a ripped chain-link fence that has done its best to keep out the unwanted. She stands at the gate of America, where many have died, been denied asylum, assistance, a helping hand, to lift them out of the quicksand of misery. Many arrested, many turned away. She's come down from a pedestal. She does not turn her back. A gift from the artist reminds me that I too have been nurtured, that each of us is one among millions granted asylum, only travelers passing through. And that's for Oscar. So that's in the book, plus other good, juicy ones.
Good ones. All right.
Well, thank you for this time.
Yeah, Mr.
Jesus.
Flores.
I just want to say how proud I am that you have progressed and developed yourself. I'm proud of you as one of my former students. I don't take any credit, but I love what you've become and what you're doing for the community, and that you've still here in the South Side. Kind of reminds me of me because I'm still on the West Side, but we know where the need is, and we know how we can help people, and use our gifts and our talents for that. And not only that, you're a UT grad, so we're alumni.
That's right. We're at UT Hook'em.
Hook'em.
And Mr. Flores, the amount of students you've inspired and helped shoot out into the world to gain all their goals. I mean, I bet when you first started teaching in 77?
76, yeah.
76. I bet you were probably about 6'8", and then all the people who would stand on your shoulders made you a little bit shorter over the years. I think that's probably what happened. But we're so blessed to have had you in my life. And you were there when my parents were at Dwight. So the amount of impact you've had on the South Side and our community, and me in poetry, we still keep together and actively work on community events in poetry together.
Yeah, that's
true. And I don't ever want it to stop. So,
well, as far as I'm concerned, let's go for it. By the way, you're going to be one of our featured poets.
Yes. So are you promoting anything in addition to the book?
Besides my books? Well, all the events. I formed a group years ago called Voces, Cósmicas. It's a group of poets. Some are brand new poets. Some are coming up. Some are established. And so brought them together to read, and we do events throughout the year. And also, because I love music, I invite musicians. We've had many musicians from San Antonio come and sing for the people there, because I love to incorporate music and poetry. They're related. I mean, they're expressions of our spirit, and people seem to really enjoy that. So I'll keep doing that, and every so often God sends me somebody that maybe they've given up, or they haven't, or they're just starting out and they end up with us. And I'm so happy that they do. And because in this city there's poetry going on all the time. You can find poetry slams at different cafes and restaurants and bistros and colleges. And so, and we just, me and my friend Carlos Loera, who is my connection at the library, he believes the same way. He teaches art at San Antonio College. And I've met so many wonderful people along the way. So, I mean, how can I deny that? Dr. Castillo at Palo Alto, who's another advocate for poetry and literature. Alex Salinas, fine poet. Jesus Cardona, who I've known since our days at Edgewood, and he's still teaching at Incarnate Word High School, if you can believe it. He's gone beyond 50 years as a teacher. Jeez. And he's still at it. So, those are the kind of people that I have been drawn to. Not by my hand, but by the hand of Providence has brought us together. Amen. And once again, that group that I formed, it was because I wanted to reach out to the community, to converse. Many people had never heard poetry before. And some are shocked, that, wow, it seems too easy, but it's not. It's not. But anyway, yourself. Right. But anyway, that's has been my main drive. I want to push our events. We're going to have two events, one in April, this coming April, and the 4th and the 11th for National Poetry Month, and it's to bring the community in. And at the library, what a better place to have readings in a place we're surrounded by books. I think it was Borges who said that death will be a paradise, a library. When he died, he was going to go to a library. I mean, you know, every writer has their own conceptions, but that one was a funny one. You know, it's paradise is a library. That's what he said. Paradise is a library. So what a better place than to have a library. And I still honor librarians and the work they do and the people that work there. I mean, you got to be a people person to reach out, you know. Not everybody can do that. So that's, I think, part of my gift, and that's what I'm going to continue to do and promote. And I have 3 other manuscripts. I've written a novel. It's about a fallen poet and a fallen angel. So it's got some.
When's that one coming out?
If I can find a publisher, that one's done.
That one sounds interesting.
It is, and it takes place in San Antonio. But it's, you know, it's one of those where you have to figure out.
Right.
And it's an interesting. I had so much fun writing that book that every time I go back to reread it, to try to improve it, I end up laughing again and, you know, remembering how I wrote it. It was such an interesting experience to write a novel. I just wanted to do it because I always heard poets say, well, I'm going to write a novel one day.
Right.
And so I said, hey, well, I'm going to do that too. And I actually did. It took me a while, man, a few years, but I finally got it.
Yeah.
And I haven't, the working title is right now just The Poet and the Angel. But it's about a fallen poet and a fallen angel. And that's, you know, maybe one day I'll get it published. So I have this one. I have The Dreaming in Noir, the novel, and then there's one called Q's Kaleidoscope. I created a character like Don Quixote, and he has a sidekick. His name is Sancho, just like the story Sancho Panza. Yeah, but they're in a contemporary setting, you know, and he responds to things that are happening, and he uses Sancho to, you know, as a sidekick, kind of like Jimmy Kimmel and what's his name? Guillermo. Yeah, and sometimes Sancho seems smarter than, or more poetic than Q. I just call it Q. Q's Kaleidoscope. And sometimes you have to quite, wait a minute, who's the poet here, man? Yeah. Sancho Panza is not just a sidekick. He's got something, you know. And so I even wrote a little play for the book. And it's about COVID, what happened during COVID. And Q wants to go out there on his horse and his lance, like the original Don Quixote, and he wants to go fight COVID. Where is it?
Nice. That's awesome.
And Sancho Panza has to talk him out of it, you know, to let him know it's not a real person.
Right.
But anyway.
Well, we need to get together and make that play come to life.
Yeah, that would be
we'll have it at the rec, and I'll buy some curtains like this, and we'll get it going.
Just find me a Q.
A Q? Yeah.
Somebody that
a sidekick for you?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to be in it, but
no, Q's the Don Quixote part.
Yeah.
And Sancho Panza, the guy's in Sancho.
The sidekick part.
That's awesome.
But he reminisces and he gives his opinions about the world and literature. It's a very eclectic book with a broad range. Yeah. Which is what I wanted to do. I didn't want to just.
So you have it scripted already, and
it's already done. Yeah.
Ready for a play.
That part is ready. Well, I might have to revise certain things.
Right.
I haven't typed it out. It's still in my journal.
I wonder if some of the people I've interviewed on the podcast are like actors and really? Aspiring and agent, and maybe we could do something.
That could be a next step.
Let's do it.
I always wanted to be a playwright. I used to write little plays when I was young, but I kind of fell out of that and turned more to poetry. But anyway, I've always loved anything that had to do with writing. You know, journalism, reportage, biography, metaphors. I mean, you know, everything. Yeah. So I have that little. It's not a very long. What do you call it? Play. But you know, it has a couple of scenes. Yeah. Maybe I'll extend it. I don't know yet. But I haven't looked at it in a while, but it's there. It's there in my journal. Yeah.
Time to dust it off and let's give it a run.
I don't know. I think I have 19 journals. They're all full of writing. I guess I'll leave that to my girls. You want a last word? Find a journal.
Yeah, you have to find a manuscript to make it easier to filter through.
And I just started the number 19 yesterday. I went and bought another journal at Office Depot.
Is it the black? Like the black those? We used to have one in your room when your school in your class. We had those black journals. Those are the same ones you're using.
I still love them. Yeah. And so I still put them to use, and I have 19 of them. All of them different years, up to 2006. 20. What is it? 2026. Yeah. So wow. I just keep going, man. whatever. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I have another one that I started years ago. It's called Saints and Sinners, and that one's more spiritual. And that's got but that one's got art, and I know they won't let me use the pictures because some of them are famous artworks. So I have to make sure the writing is good.
Right.
But it does have the reference point, so the reader can go and say, okay, it's a picture of San Sebastian, who's in that book too. The one that was shot with arrows by the emperor, the Roman emperor. He was one of the first Christian martyrs. But anyway, I like to write about everything that I can get my hands on. So that's another book.
Well, I think we have a lot of projects to come, you and me.
Oh my God.
Well,
I just don't stop. But anyway,
if you haven't heard the book yet, Songs for America, I've already bought mine. You can find a link below. And April 4th, we'll be performing with Voces Cósmicas at the new renovated Las Palmas Library. And also April 11th. And where's that one going to be?
That one's renovated too. Bazan Library.
Library.
Buena Vista and Commerce.
Buena Vista and Commerce.
All on the west side, because that's where La Gente is and the need is there,
Yes.
And believe it or not, people come and they get inspired and they go out and they do their own thing, Maybe some of them turn to writers too. So, I mean, there's so many young people that come and go, and some of them keep in touch later on. And, they enjoy it. And we enjoy doing it. So, and we don't charge anything, so it's all free.
Yeah.
We're just a grassroots group. That's probably all we're ever going to be, because we don't want to get haggled with finances and this and that. I'm not that astute on keeping books anymore, but
yeah. Stay focused on the mission.
Yeah, I stay focused on this and my own writing, and try to. I never thought I would have all these books. My first one was a risk. Second one was riskier. That one was the riskiest, and then this one was a stop of the roulette wheel fell on my name. Because the publisher loved the book so much, and she goes, "I'm going to publish it as it is, everything in there."
Wow.
Of course, we did revise certain things, but
Yeah, well, you're getting better.
It's a good sign. Yeah, after all these years,
Yeah.
So I enjoy everything that I do, especially when connected with a community and helping people. So that's been my drive all my life: help kids, help adults, and everybody in between.
Right.
who wants to,
Well, we'll see you on April 4th. And Mr. Flores, thank you so much for your time.
And bring the fire, Jesus. Bring the fire.
Yes, I'm working on my piece.
Good, man. Good. So.